Already there's a problem, insist on increasing the overall budget from 3.3 trillion, which it was in the previous year, to 3.67 trillion.
Queries would emerge on the whereabouts of Azimio allied legislators who are absent from the chambers during the vote. The Azimio coalition has since written a show-cause letter to 28 of its members, 4 of them who actively supported the bill and 24 who were absent during voting. Githunguri MP Gathoni wa Mushomba is the Lone Ranger from the Kenya Kwanza coalition to vote against the bill.
We started off with issue of housing. We came up with contribution. We moved from contribution. We made it a levy. We have moved from the levy. Now we are calling it a task. Is that not scandalous?
Lazima tujiadhibu ili tuweze kukomboa hawa wa Kenya. Leo unataka kupinga mswada. Leo unataka kupinga bill kwa sababu ya kutafuta umaarufu.
And as Parliament prepares to debate the bill at the committee stage, all eyes will be on the opposition who have hinted at proposing amendments. Several amendments agreed upon by the Kimani Kuria-led Finance Committee have been proposed, with the Kenya Kwanza side keen on pushing through all of them, while Azimio says it has prepared a raft of amendments that will most likely be opposed by the government side. Among the amendments sought by Kenya Kwanza include the lowering of the housing tax from 3% to 1.5%. The committee is also recommending its implementation to be deferred to January 2024 in order to put in place a watertight legal framework ahead of its implementation. The 15% tax proposed for digital content creators will be lowered to 5%. The Kenya Kwanza side is keen on retaining the proposal to set the VAT of petroleum products at 16%, up from 8%, a proposal that Azimio side has vehemently opposed, claiming it was punitive and would overburden Kenyans.
And because we do it cross by clause, we'll have enough time in the coming days to interrogate that bill and, of course, do the changes that we may seek to do.
Some of the MPs who have received disciplinary letters from Azimio for being absent say they will support the proposals, with President William Ruto urging them to ignore alleged intimidation by their parties.
Na tuache siasa ya propaganda, because this is our country and we want our country to succeed. Whether I'm an MP or not.
Wacheni Kiingereza mingi nini sijui nini, sijui umeandikiwa barua na sijui chama gani. Wewe unaandikiwa barua na chama, na hawa wenye walikupatia kura barua yao umesoma.
Well, on a very light note, I just thought the president there quoted one of our infamous songs there by one of our local artists, Ile barua yangu ulipata. That is none other than Major. Well, this morning, all focus, actually this afternoon, this focus is going to be on what direction government takes in regard to matters of finance bill. Will the opposition, the coalition, that is Azimio, carry the day? Or will the government-backed bill see the light of day? In all this, where does Wanjiku lie? That's a candid conversation that is going to be put into perspective by my colleague Victor Law in the course of this particular broadcast. Now, the EU and Kenya have concluded and signed the political conclusion of the negotiations for an economic partnership agreement. The ratified agreement signed at State House Nairobi will give Kenya duty-free access to the EU market based on one Kenya's biggest export markets. Now, the economic partnership agreement between Kenya and the EU aims at implementing the provisions of the EU East Africa Community trade deals that will be open for other EAC countries to join in future.
Kenya and the European Union have signed a trade deal as part of ongoing efforts to boost trade and economic ties between Kenya and the European Union. Speaking during the ceremony, President William Ruto described the development as a major step in the trade and investment relations between the European Union and Kenya. The head of state said inking of the deal signals a long-term commitment to ensure farmers, including those in flour, tea, coffee, fish, as well as peas, and the edible fruits and nuts sector are assured of predictable market.
The agreement will grant Kenyan products immediate, duty-free, quota-free entry into the EU from the day it comes into effect. And in recognition of our varied stage of progress along the development journey, products from the EU will progressively receive duty reductions over a period of 25 years.
President Ruto reiterated the government's commitment to the continuous implementation of the business climate reforms agenda and to sustain the country's position as a continental leader in institutional evolution.
By locating your investment in Kenya, you will gain market access to the rest of the African continent. And I am pleased that we are doing this at a time when we are also advancing the implementation of the Global Gateway Africa Europe Investment Package.
According to the Executive Vice President and the European Union Commissioner for Trade, the agreement will be directly supported by the implementation of the Global Gateway of African European Investment Package announced at the 6th EU-AU Summit in February 2022.
Already, 3.4 billion euros have been mobilized to support over 150 projects. Those cover areas like renewable and accessible energy, including green hydrogen, electrical mobility, sustainable agricultural value chains, circular and sustainable economy, climate resilience, and environmental conservation.
The signing of the agreement on Monday marked the end of a negotiation process that kicked off in 2016. The parties in the deal are set to work towards the completion of the respective internal procedures for the entry into force of the Economic Partnership Agreement as soon as possible.
The signing of the ambitious trade deal between Kenya and the EU is set to benefit the over 28 partner states and establish a long-lasting relationship in matters trade and investment. And this is in line with the United Nations 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development.
Indeed. Now, back to the local scene, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has defended the government's expenditure since getting into office. Gachagua, who is in Mombasa for the start of the Water and Sanitation Conference, says foreign trips by the president and other top government officials were aimed at accelerating and building global partnerships. The Deputy President at the same time maintained that the government will not be distracted in discharging its mandate, cautioning the media against being used by external forces to drive a wedge in government.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was in Mombasa to officiate this year's Kenya Water and Sanitation Conference, an exhibition that has brought together over 1,000 global experts.
At the start, so it will do.
Negative effects of climate change have forced the stakeholders to accelerate partnerships in order to develop waterways, particularly in the northern part of Kenya, while prioritizing technological solutions.
We're equally going together with technology to be able to carve out elements that are going to try and do illegal connections.
We are going to make sure that never again our people should be traveling 5-10 kilometers to search for water, and that is clean drinking water.
Kenya has got massive resource, both natural resources and human resource. Let us work towards that goal.
The biggest asset that can sort out that problem also is simple, good governance practices.
As he officially opened the week-long event, the Deputy President insists public-private partnership programs will accelerate development that will aid the country in attaining self-sufficiency.
Partner with the government to build dams, water ponds, sink boreholes, and assist us to deal with the effects of climate change.
We have taken a bold step as a government, led by His Excellency the President, to agree to partner and invited partners in the private sector to be able to invest and break the myth that water is not bankable.
It is at this juncture that he chose to address the grave allegation in government as exposed by a section of the media.
Whereas I agree with Moses Kuria that you have become rogue and you are part of the Azimio brigade of trying to bring down the government, I don't agree with what he has suggested, that we stop advertising with you. We shouldn't, because we are democracy and we should be able to allow you to continue doing your job. Ours is to call you out.
Gachagua claims schemes by some quarters to stir up negative publicity on the Ruto-led administration.
You are going to wait for a long time, and you'll be disappointed. There will be no cracks in this government. This is a very solid government with leaders who have been brought together by a plan. Leaders who have been brought together by some commitment to work for the people of Kenya. The president and I and the rest of us, all our ministers, are all pulling in the same direction.
He further justified alleged budget inflations by top government officials, saying the allocation is necessary in their quest in restoring the economic stability of the country.
If they were honest to do analysis, they will find that within 9 months, President William Ruto has done 8 times what President Uhuru Kenyatta did, and hence the escalation of the budget.
Juni Karisambele from Mombasa County.
Thank you. Asanteni sana.
There you go, and we keep on talking about government spending vis-a-vis what Wanjiko per household can spend. Looking at the consumer purchasing index that has been, decreasing. Looking at inflation where it is at around 8%, according to the latest report by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics there. Now to matter security, Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome has called on residents of Mutwati in Igembe North, Meru County, where 5 people were killed and hundreds of cattle stolen, to remain calm as the government moves in to boost security in the area. The IG, while on a visit to the area, said the government will equip law enforcers with modern equipment to effectively counter banditry in the region. According to Koome, at least 83 cows have been recovered from the bandits by security agencies. Koome has further urged police units to work with the community to bring harmony in the area.
Mengi tunafanya ndio kuwa na utulivu upande huu, na kuna mambo ambayo tunapanga. Mtaona hata vifaa ambazo tutaleta hapa. Kuna mpango mzuri sana kuhakikisha kuna salama hapa, na hata kule tunapeleka mifugo zetu kuna usalama. Tumeangalia, tumejua pahali kulikuwa na mwanya, na DIG ni mshahidi wangu Bwana Kanja. Tumejua mahali kulikuwa na mwanya, tumeziba tayari. Tumerudisha ng'ombe 83 zimerudi tayari, zile zingine zitarudi. Tuko kule na teams na majangiri tutawapata.
Government there asking the residents of Mutwati in Igembe, Meru County, to remain calm. Now to the corridors of justice. 12 voters have moved to the High Court seeking to have Kenya Kwanza coalition declared the minority party in Parliament. The voters in their petition argue that the Kenya Kwanza coalition violated the Constitution and the people's sovereignty on multi-party democracy by wooing members elected independently or through other parties not in the coalition without following the laid-down procedures. Ruth Wamboi with more.
Among the prayers being sought by the petitioners include the declaration that Kenya Kwanza Coalition is a minority side in the National Assembly based on the election of members of the National Assembly in the last general election. They also want the court to declare the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, was unlawfully elected and should stop serving as a Speaker of the National Assembly. Further, the petitioners faulted the Registrar of Political Parties for allegedly failing to ensure that Kenya Kwanza adheres to the Code of Conduct for Political Parties set out in the Political Parties Act 2011. They now wait for directions from the courts. Separately, it was a reprieve for Michael Macharia Njiri alias DJ Brownskin, who has been in custody for close to 2 weeks after Milimani Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina granted him a bond of 200,000 Kenya shillings with a surety of the same or a cash bail of 100,000 shillings and one contact person.
To confirm supply of previous statements and documentary has been searched. he stands free upon paying that amount, and I think that is essentially what we wanted, so that he can do his case when he's outside, and it's not punitive in terms of keeping him inside.
The case will be mentioned on Thursday, 22nd June 2023. Elsewhere, Justice Alfred Mabea stopped Equity Bank takeover of Transcentury. Justice Mabea suspended the receivership temporarily pending inter-party hearing. This is after Transcentury PLC moved to the High Court to challenge the takeover. Justice Mabea has also certified the suit as urgent. Meanwhile, 2 young men have been arraigned in court for robbery with violence. The duo are accused of robbing a woman an ATM card, a handbag and 1,200 Kenya shillings along Ngong Road in Nairobi. The duo are accused of robbing a woman of her ATM card, a handbag and 1,200 Kenya shillings along Ngong Road in Nairobi County. The pre-trial is slated for 25th June 2023.
Na hiyo mahakama itakayosikiliza kesi yako ndio itaweza kutoa amri.
Finally, the High Court in Meru on Monday heard that a land rights activist, Elizabeth Ibrahim Ekaru, died after profusely bleeding when she was stabbed several times at a funeral she was attending.
We are just super grateful, and we hope that by the end of the year, we'll be able to get justice for our fallen comrade Elizabeth.
2 more witnesses are set to testify on September 18, 2023, when the hearing will continue. Patrick Nawit is accused of attacking and killing the suspect. He was arrested by police as an irate mob descended on him, accusing him of murdering the late Ekaru.
Victims of sexual violence in the 2007-2008 post-poll chaos are demanding acknowledgement and compensation from government for damages suffered during the chaos. Speaking during the release of the Kenya study on opportunities for compensation for survivors of conflict-related sexual violence, survivors of sexual violence say it is now 15 years since the post-poll chaos, and yet justice for them remains elusive.
Between 2007 December and 2008 January, the post-election violence in Kenya resulted in the deaths of an estimated 1,200 people. Hundreds others were sexually assaulted.
Akimbiza huyu mtoto wangu upande ingine na mimi upande huu. Huyu msichana wangu alisikwa, akafanyiwa matambi na tena akararuliwa manguo. Ulize umekuwa aje? Wanipiga, wakanirarulia nguo. Kuja hivi kama uji. Na mimi nikamwambia na mimi pia.
15 years later, survivors say their needs that range from medical support, psychological support, legal services and economic support are yet to be met.
Kwetu pale nizaliwa ni Siaya. Nilipata kama udongo already walishapeana kwa sababu maisha yangu zote nilikuwa nimeweka Naivasha fasi nilikuwa naishi. Sasa imebidi mimi niende niishi Busia, Kenya, ili nipate jinsi naweza ishi. Sasa venye sijapata venye naweza ishi, imefanya nitatengana na familia yangu, wanaishi mbali na mimi naishi mbali.
A report on opportunities for reparations released on Monday through the support of the Global Survivors Fund found that none of the survivors have received any form of justice for crimes suffered during that period.
Talked about it like it had just happened yesterday. The details of what happened, the slamming of the door, the screaming that went on, it was just profound, but it also made us realize one thing. It is so difficult to be able to move when nobody gives you the opportunity for closure.
Employing survivor-centered approaches in handling these cases so that it's done in a very sensitive manner. And just as non-repetition is important for prevention, so is accountability, so that it's only by holding accountable perpetrators that we can actually break these cycles of violence.
During his 2023-2024 budget presentation, CS Treasury Njuguna Ndongo proposed 245 million shillings towards strengthening prevention and response of gender-based violence, and a further 3.5 billion shillings for the National Government Affirmative Action. Part of this money, the Nairobi Women Representative Esther Pasari says, should go into reparations.
Because we've been saying we need more money on SGBV. So for me,
I think from that budget of sexual gender-based violence, we can start reparation. We don't have to write.
For justice to be realized, the report recommends that the Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice addresses impunity by investigating and prosecuting conflict-related sexual violence crimes. The President to officially and specifically recognize the status of survivors of conflict-related sexual violence. Government to take immediate action to publish the full TJRC report, and the Ministry of Public Service to create a task force which will include survivors to onboard delivery partners. The report was launched as the country joined the world in marking International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict.
So yesterday, the Director General of the Communication Authority there appeared before Parliament, and some of the issues were raised is that what was the regulator doing in light of this Shakahola tragedy, where investigations are still underway, exhumations still underway, and what did the regulator do in regard to the, the broadcast of controversial content? Well, in case you missed what was happening in Parliament, you can revert to our KBC channel on YouTube there, where we have highlighted and uploaded some of the comments that were shared by members of Parliament. And also in tackling graft there, a series of managers have been, have lost their jobs at NHIF. All the stories are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now we speak business. Government is seeking the approval of Parliament to spend about 40 billion shillings as a second supplementary budget for the current financial year that ends this month. The additional cash is to be channeled to education, water projects, and reduce the pending bills.
Parliamentary Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, Water and Sanitation and Irrigation, as well as Education, met the Budget and Appropriation Committee to seek reinstatement of allocations for the financial year 2022-2023 as it comes to a close, saying the budget cuts may interrupt service delivery for its people.
Most of the projects will stall, number one. Number two, there will be a lot of pending bills.
The latest supplementary budget proposes to reduce allocation for roads by 14.26 billion shillings, transport by 970 million shillings. Blue economy and fisheries has been slashed by 346.9 million shillings, while the State Department for Irrigation allocation has been cut by 300 million shillings.
Tuweke pesa kwa idara ya serikali ambayo haitaweza kuzitumia kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka ambapo ni wiki mbili zinazokuja. Heri tuzitoe katika idara moja na tuweke katika zile idara ambazo zinahitaji, ambazo zina upungufu, ili pesa ya serikali itumike vizuri.
What we are doing, number one, is to make sure that we have facilitated the government departments that needs facilitation. Number one, for example, we are putting some more money in education because we allowed Treasury to spend that money and come for ratification later, because we didn't want any hitch in regards to the payments of salaries for our JSS teachers. We are also checking on other areas, for example, the ongoing water projects, the ongoing other projects of this government, so that we make sure as we cross the year, there is no hitch, and of course we try to minimize as much as possible the accrual of pending bills.
If the supplementary estimate 2 is approved in its current form, allocation for water sanitation will increase by 5.9 billion shillings. Shipping and Maritime Affairs budget will get an extra 22 million shillings, while 4 billion shillings has been earmarked for completion of the Thwake multipurpose dam, which is 80% complete.
Thwake Dam, there is no money we are cutting from Thwake Dam. Money is being increased in Thwake Dam. The best way to look at it is comparative. What was there before these changes were brought forth and what is there after.
That effectively puts a cap on matters in the headlines this morning. We invite you to our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Some of the developing stories and that are going to be drawing the attention of both the business desk and the general desk is what is going to be happening this afternoon in Parliament as the finance bill and is presented to the committee of the whole house. This effectively allows for debate clause per clause. The coalition, that is the opposition, has said that it needs to shoot down and has a raft of amendments to the proposed Finance Bill 2023. Will the opposition or will government carry the day? That's the big question. And is there anything for Wanjiku in the proposed budget, the first under the Ruto administration, at 3.7 trillion shillings? I'm Regina Manyara. I live in the able hands of my colleague Victor Law as he carries on with the candid conversations this morning.
The National Construction Authority is mandated to undertake research into the construction industry as a vital function that fosters effective knowledge diffusion, innovation, and improved performance of the industry. NCA will host its third Research Dissemination Forum on 20th to 21st June 2023, during which 4 pertinent research studies will be presented. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 and the NCA Facebook page, National Construction Authority, and YouTube channel, National Construction Authority, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The National Construction Authority, promoting excellence in the construction industry.
Mimi siwezi kukaa hapa peke yangu. Wamjua tena huu shetani.
Mtakaa hapa kando yako mpaka haya maneno tuyamalize. Sijui nini hasa ambacho kinaendelea hapa.
I swear to you, wakili, you will regret it.
Mwenye kudesign ni mimi na mimi ndo najua pesa yangu, sawa? Basi itabidi ukazane zaidi, unasikia? Oe.
I swear. Lazima huyu mtu aende jela for a very long time. Sitaki kujua atakuwa ni nani. No one plays with my money.
고도로 훈련된 살인병기밖에 없이요. 설마 아니겠지.
왜 이러나? calm down.
내가 여기 오지 말라 그랬지.
구청에서 이미 공식 발표가 나버렸죠요. 모르시나?
그건 내가 알 바가 아니고.
아, 우리 신부님 알 바가 아니다. 성전으로 만들. 신부가 사람을 치네. 사탄이다.
맹수 아니면요 고도로 훈련된 살인병기밖에 없이요.
설마 아니겠지.
왜 이러나? calm down.
내가 여기 오지 말라 그랬지.
구청에서 이미 공식 발표가 나버렸죠요. 모르시나?
그건 내가 알 바가 아니고.
아, 우리 신부님 알 바가 아니다. 성전으로 만들. 신부가 사람을 치네. 사탄이다.
Amparo, did something happen to Reynaldo?
No. Listen, I don't get it. What happened and why are you here, Amparo?
Amparo, please tell me where's Reynaldo.
Didn't your wife bother to explain?
Yes, of course she told me what happened, but I want to hear your story as well.
And what for?
You have a choice. You'll talk to Oligario, or you'll give me the report about Milena. Give me the real one and you will get a huge sum.
It's Rodrigo.
I think he's seeing someone else.
Las Bandidas.
Mimi siwezi kukaa hapa peke yangu. Wamjua tena huu shetani.
Nitakaa hapa kando yako mpaka haya maneno tuyamalize. Sijui nini hasa ambacho kinaendelea hapa.
I swear to you, wakili. You will regret it.
Mwenye kudesign ni mimi na mimi ndo najua pesa yangu sawa. Basi itabidi ukazane zaidi, unasikia? Oe.
I swear. Lazima huyu mtu aende jela for a very long time. Sitaki kujua atakuwa ni nani. No one plays with my money.
All right, welcome back and welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. Now this is time for People and Politics. We are going to take a look at what we have on the front page of our local dailies. We have got so much happening in Parliament today, and that is going to be our main focus. And in studio, I have got two gentlemen, legislators, who are going to be taking part in that crucial vote. They are going to be voting clause by clause, and that would mean they are going to have a very long day in Parliament. I have got Peter Masara here, who is Member of Parliament of Suna West constituency, and Honorable Joseph Cherorot, who is Member of Parliament of Kipkelion East in Kericho County. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Right about now, let me take you through the traffic. First of all, if you're in Nairobi, let me start with Nairobi, okay? The CBD still looks very pretty well. As always, let me start with the Wakenya coming all the way from Wayaki Way, from Rungiri, coming down from Kangemi, Kabete, joining the roundabout Westlands, thereabout. It's still very much okay. Joining the Westlands roundabout, coming towards the University of Nairobi, Badi Kosao, bumper to bumper, coming towards this side of Globe roundabout. But if you are coming from Westlands and you're coming into the CBD past the University Way, Anniversary Towers thereabout, you still have got a moment to drive easy into the CBD. Still looking good as it is. Wale ambao coming all the way from the sides of Yaya Center, that is Hurlingham, the Agwings-Kodhik route, you still have got a moment. It's still early. It's you know, some 8 minutes past 7 a.m. So you can still find your way into the CBD past 4 points there, coming to Hurlingham Shopping Center, roundabout, and down to Valley Road. Still moving very well. If you see it green, then it means that you have got a free flow into the central business district. How about those guys who are coming all the way from Mombasa Road? Okay, Mombasa Road, what to Mombasa Road? How does it look like? Okay, very okay. For all the way from Panari, moving from General Motors, Imara Daima, you have a moment to celebrate as you come into the CBD. You can take a look at that. Either way, the only problem is always around Panari thereabout, or when you approach General Motors. That's where there is always a small roundabout there that causes that traffic snarl up. But from there on, it moves, and then you can take your way into the southern bypass or continue into the CBD past South B and ultimately the central business district. What about Langata Road? How is it looking like? Very well. So far, so good. Bagadi Way also moving okay. That is as far as Langata Road is concerned. Still moving. But when you're approaching the Aerodrome Road around the Nyayo National Stadium, that's where we have a bit of some snarl up. But all is well. So you can still find your way into the CBD. That's as far as that is concerned. I'll take you back later on, Nairobi. Let me take you to the traffic situation in Kisumu. What Kisumu also told that you want to know how does it look like. What Kisumu, you have a moment to celebrate. There's nothing much to report here from Gentlemen from Kondele, you can still find your way into the CBD pretty well. Those guys from Nyamasaria, Lolwe, those sides of Molem coming into the CBD, you have got a moment to celebrate as well as you come to build the nation. So far so good. Kisumu looking very well. And finally, how about Mombasa? I usually say that when you see this blue patch, it shows the Indian Ocean. It looks beautiful. Okay, it looks beautiful. That's it. Let me just zoom out. That's how beautiful it is. So, what Mombasa, coming from Changamwe, all the way from Jambo Village, coming into Changamwe roundabout, joining Makupa Causeway again. You have a moment to celebrate because those gentlemen coming all the way from Kibarani now actually getting out of Mombasa. Makupa Causeway was constructed, and so this one is where the problem was initially. This was the Makupa Causeway and the Makupa Bridge. For those people who've been using this route for a very long time, you know what the problem was all about, from Kibarani into the Makupa and ultimately into the CBD. So, what Mombasa, you still have a moment as well to celebrate. But if you are approaching these sides of Mwembe Tayari, Nyali, coming all the way from Bamburi, you'll have to be a bit patient because around Kengeleni thereabout, it's a bit, in a shikana because we have got Kongowea Market. For those who know about Kongowea Market, there's always a junction there and there's traffic light around Kongowea Market, around this area. So that brings that Kasnala, but it moves as you move towards the Nyali Bridge and ultimately into the CBD. Those people who are coming towards that side of Tudor, all of this particular area is looking very good. That is as far as traffic is concerned. I'll get back there later on to give you more updates on traffic. So, Mheshimiwa, today is a very big day for you, gentlemen. Let me start with you, Peter Masara. What should you expect in Parliament? You seem to be ready for the long sitting today.
Yes, I'm very ready. Actually, I'm prepared to be there 24 hours.
Yes.
To serve the people of Kenya and the people of Suna West.
Suna West?
Yes.
How is Suna West doing to start with?
I left Suna West yesterday and they were doing well.
All right.
Yes.
Kipkelion East, Mheshimiwa, the issue of tea is still a hard nut to crack. What's going on basically there in Karisha? We love tea, and when you hear issues around there, we get worried.
The issue of tea in Kericho County is on process. It is been sorted.
Yes.
And things have been done amicably. And we expect good results. And even the multinational have also accepted to proceed in the investment. Yes.
So because we are looking at this issue, and it's good to know that the issue of tea has been sorted, let me take you through the front page, gentlemen, very quickly on the front page of our local dailies. What's on the front page of the Standard? Newspaper says that Azimio plans changes to Ruto tax bill. The opposition has planned a two-pronged approach to the finance bill, where they are pushing for 8 amendments. They hope that will get support even from Kenya Kwanza legislators. So if that fails, the coalition will move to court to block the implementation of the new taxation measures. Remember, John Mbadi spoke last week on behalf of ODM, and Honorable Kuria Kimani, who is the committee chair, also had a very long 1.5 weeks doing the report in Naivasha, and they're back. But based on what is here on the front page of the Daily Standard, Azimio plans changes to Ruto tax bill. What are some of these clauses that you're trying to amend, Mheshimiwa Peter?
Actually, we want, the cost of living is so high now. We want to try and push the Kenya Kwanza government to drop the issue of petroleum levy, which they want to increase by 8% as well, because once they increase it by 8%, it will increase all other products, because as you are aware, petrol or petroleum product is used to manufacture in transport sector and so many other things. So it will increase the prices of basic commodities. 2, we want Jubilee government, Kenya Kwanza government, to drop the issue of housing levy. Let them put it at a later stage, because currently the economy does not support any increment in any tax to the people of Kenya. We want young people to continue with their digital content so that they can earn a living. Taxing them will means you are discouraging them. Because at the end of the day, before you tax them, what are you doing for them?
Right.
We want the issue of the beauty products. There are so many people in saloons, and so far they are earning their living through hard work. If you introduce the issue of taxing them 5%, I think that is not fair to them. We want to return the issue of 16% VAT on helicopters and aircraft. Those are rich people. If Kenya Kwanza needs money, those are the people they should target to get more money from them.
So you want it to go up or to be retained at 16%?
It should go up.
Okay.
Yes. And many more. The issue, we discussed the issue of beauty, the insurance. You know, insurance compensation is where when you get an accident, the insurance company usually compensates you for the damage. If you are taxed 16%, then if it was a vehicle, you will not be able to buy that vehicle because the figure will reduce by 16%. If it is the issue of personal accident, you have paid hospital bill, you have drugs or other things to do, then you are being taxed. It means the cost of that whatever treatment will be high, but you will not be compensated because whatever you are given will be reduced by 16%. Actually, that's why we are saying the Kenya Kwanza government is not very sensitive to the needs of the people of Kenya right now. They are in comfort zone. They don't understand what is happening on the ground. So as Azimio, we are really going to go by what the people want. For the first time in the history, I've been in this parliament for now 6 years. I've never seen a finance bill challenged by 93% of Kenyan's population. That indicates that even where Kenya Kwanza was strong, this bill has been challenged, including their Rift Valley, Central Province. The bill has been challenged. That's an indicator that people who are currently occupying the executive side of the government are living in another world.
They are living in another world.
They are living in another world.
Mheshimiwa Cherorot,
yes,
he's spoken. You're on the floor of the House. Your mic is on.
Yes. Thank you, Victor. We've heard what my colleague here has mentioned. Actually, I can say that we are also ready 24/7 to make sure that this bill goes through, because actually this bill is about Kenya and it's about the government. We have to make sure that we have to collect our revenues. Where we are now as a country is that we are so low, we are down. And compared to, if you see even the tax in other countries in Africa,
yes,
tax to GDP, like even in Tunisia, it's 32%. In Nigeria, it's about 7.5%. When you come to Kenya, we have 15%. So I don't want to say, I cannot say that or believe that we are going to maybe frustrate Kenyans by taxing them. Actually, where the government is now is that it has to manage itself. And what made all this is because we stopped, the president actually stopped the borrowing.
Yeah.
We either go for borrowing and lose our country, or we pay taxes and save our country. What's happening now in our country is that when Kenya Kwanza came to power, the economy was so low. Actually, during Kipaki's regime, Kibaki actually made sure that the Kenyans paid taxes. But when the predecessor who left the State House the other day, Jubilee government, what they did was, after the handshake, actually they expanded the borrowing.
Right.
Until that right now, we have about 9 trillion to pay. So what is happening in our country is that we need to be brave. We need to make sure that we face, we have to hold the bull by the horns. That is what the president is doing. He cannot manage to actually move on with the leadership if we cannot pay taxes. So that is a challenge. And what I want to also say is that as Kenya Kwanza, what we are going to do is to make sure that, like what my colleague is saying, it's not 93% of Kenyans are refusing to pay taxes. We've heard about also the digital content, the youth, or those who are the artists and the rest. Actually, because of the space that they have, we have to pay for that. We have to feed the pinch so that we can save this country. Yeah.
Okay, very well. Okay, so before I get back to that discussion, let me just take you through what is here. Raila-led coalition lines up 8 amendments to the finance bill. You can confirm that?
Yes.
Very well. So opposition pushing for amendments to the contentious issues such as the housing levy, as well as disciplinary action will also be taken against MPs of opposition who will be supporting the finance bill. I'll ask a question, what really happened last week, because a majority of opposition MPs were not in the House. They were absent. So Raila Odinga-led Azimio coalition has lined up 8 amendments to the finance bill 2023 that is set for the 3rd reading today. It's going to be a long one. There is likelihood of a showdown between Azimio-affiliated lawmakers and those allied to President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza. And now, at least 10 amendments to the finance bill have been lined up, with 8 of them being proposed by the opposition, while 2 are from legislators allied to the government side. 8 Azimio, 2 government side. National Assembly Finance Committee Chairperson, that is Kuria Kimani, said that the proposed amendments will be tabled before the House, that is the whole House committee, where members will have an opportunity to debate them before they are subjected to a vote. If I remember, Mheshimiwa Peter, whatever is supposed to be happening today was supposed to be done last week. What really happened? It's like roles have switched.
Yeah, you know, if you can recall very well,
yes,
when Honorable Otiende Amolo, when we were supposed to start debating on the finance bill, there were some constitutional issues which were raised. And first, you remember the report from the finance committee was tabled, and it was a big document. People did not get it. It was tabled in the night, and what we were to discuss, we discuss it in the morning. People raised questions on how it's going to happen. The speaker gave a ruling that we are going to have the whole of Wednesday, part of Thursday, and the voting will be done on Tuesday. That will have given us time to go through the document, even through the weekend and overnight. But you know, Kenya Kwanza government are very funny. We gave them the benefit of doubts that is a parliament where things are supposed to be done right. But you are alive to the fact that they decided to rush it, and it happened the way it happens. We are still saying that all is not lost. Today, we have good strategy. Actually, can I tell you, Victor?
Go ahead.
If these clauses are going to be voted secretly, secret ballot, we are going to carry the day. The Kenya Kwanza MPs are being forced to pass this bill. Majority of them. If you can look at their body language, if you can bring back the clip after the votes were announced, they were sad. They were not in the celebration mood because they were forced to pass the bill. And let me put records clear to the public. My brother has just spoken that we must pay taxes.
Yes.
We are paying taxes even now. We have what is called Finance Bill Act of 2022. That is what is enabling the government to collect taxes now. It's not that this is the first time. You know, Kenya Kwanza MPs are behaving as if this is the first time Kenyans are going to pay tax. We have paid tax since 1963, even before that. They are comparing Kibaki's time and Uhuru Kenyatta's time. Who was the deputy president for the last 10 years during President Uhuru's tenure? It was the current president. Actually, I can bring even clips where the current president, when he was the deputy president in their first term, he was talking, he was the one who was pulling everything. He was the one running the government. Now, they want to associate themselves with the successes of Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, but they don't want to associate themselves with areas they didn't perform well. I can authoritatively say that There is no single time between 2013 and 2022 when Raila got into the government. There is no single time. They worked together with Uhuru Kenyatta for the sake of this country, because after 2017 election, the country was so divided.
Right.
But because he's a statesman, he decided to put his personal interests aside and take this country forward. The issue of the amendment we are going to do is for the sake of this country. If I were the president, if I were in the government, these changes, we must pay tax so that we can be self-reliant. But what do we get from the tax we pay? That's another question. During Kibaki's time, there was what was called goodwill. Both Kenyans and the international community were very ready to support the government. That's why they performed well. There were voices of reasoning, where when something was wrong, it was being solved. And remember, if you can compare Kibaki's time, there were a lot of ministers and assistant ministers. There were 50-something, of course. But they were still able to meet the expectation. What is now happening in Kenya is that if we can continue with the Finance Act of 2022, we can still sustain the current budget. Do you know why I'm saying that?
I don't know.
Last year there was election. The cost of election is no longer, we don't have it now. During the electioneering period, most investors are not ready to invest because they have an attitude, well, let us wait and see. But now that we are past the election, the cost of election is not there. The investors, if there is a goodwill, people will invest. Therefore, there was no need with the current economics time of increasing taxes. The issue of borrowing, I've been talking about this thing. Victor, even America, which is a stronger economy, Japan, Korea, Singapore, they borrow. But they borrow for specific functions. The functions which can spike an economy. In Kenya, we borrow to create offices of prime cabinet secretary. We borrow, in the current situation, we borrow money to buy new vehicles, yet the vehicles are there. We borrow to spend at State House. You know, the expenditure of State House between September and now has exceeded what Uhuru Kenyatta spent during the last financial year. So our priority are not right. So we should not tax Mama Mboga to buy a V8 for a leader. We should not tax border rider to make hospitality at State House a luxury. These are the time where leadership is required.
Let me get to you, Mheshimiwa Chirot. What do you make of that? Because at the end of the day, he says that this bill, the 8th amendment they're proposing as Azimio, is pro Mwananchi. You are going to give 2? I'd like to get these 2 amendments you're going to propose to the bill, and then you can rebut what he said.
Thank you, Victor. What I want to say is that about the issue of these taxes, especially the fuel levy.
Yes.
As we talk now, the infrastructure, the road infrastructure is going on in our country. And you cannot actually manage, you cannot do the roads if we are not going to pay taxes. This issue of 8 to 16%, actually, as I said before, what will happen is that Kenyans, I know it might be painful at the moment, but in 2 years they are going to celebrate. And also another thing, this issue of housing levy, they are being saying it's 3%, but it's 1.5%. And
actually, there's a confusion. Some of my colleagues are asking, is it 3%? Is it 1.5%? 1.5.
Yeah, we cannot actually
just
leave Kenya.
It is 3% as per the finance bill, but it is 1.5% proposed by the finance committee. So what is legal now, which was published, is 3%. What is 1.5% will be introduced in the House today.
That's what you're going to propose. Yeah, take it to the bank, we are talking of 1.5%. And the reason why about the housing levy, we have a lot of slum dwellers, and we cannot leave those people to live in slums. We want them also to enjoy, to have that basic need. We have, like, for example, the basic needs that human beings want actually is about clothing, food, and also shelter. We have to give these people shelters. We have to make them own a home. And that is why the president is very keen on that. And also this is going to even create jobs. of about 1 million youth who will be actually working on that. We have the Juakali sector. We have so many those who are involved in this construction. They are going to benefit.
Yes.
But at the end of it all, even that Mama Mboga will have an opportunity to own a house. Yes.
Okay. Let's take a break, gentlemen. When we come back, I still want us to talk about this issue because at the end of the day, this is going to be one of the biggest story today from the general desk and the business desk. And you are the two people who are tasked with that mandate on my behalf of everybody else across to get these clauses going. And finally, what we all know, that the finance bill is going to pass. The government has to run either way. I don't know.
No, even if it fails, we have Finance Act of 2022. The government will run
still pass. Is it going to pass?
Yes.
There is nowhere in the world where a government has brought a bill and it failed. So Kenya will not be exempted.
For the first time.
Okay. Kenya will not be exempted.
It's a very unpopular bill. It's going to fail.
All right. We are waiting to see because here in KBC, we will broadcast it live until late in the night. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're still going to discuss more on this shortly after this. Stay with us.
The National Construction Authority is mandated to undertake research into the construction industry as a vital function that fosters effective knowledge diffusion, innovation, and improved performance of the industry. NCA will host its third Research Dissemination Forum on 20th to 21st June 2023, during which 4 pertinent research studies will be presented. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 and the NCA Facebook page, National Construction Authority, and YouTube channel, National Construction Authority, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The National Construction Authority, promoting excellence in the construction industry.
My name is Hamza Ranwar. I'm 24 years old and I'm representing Kenya and Africa on the world stage in the Junior World Rally Championship. Come join our journey as we go across the globe and represent our beautiful, magnificent country.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
Will your children sleep hungry when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table?
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard, every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Amparo, did something happen to Reynaldo?
No. Listen, I don't get it. What happened and why are you here, Amparo?
Amparo, please tell me where's Reynaldo.
Didn't your wife bother to explain?
Yes, of course, she told me what happened, but I want to hear your story as well.
And what for?
You have a choice. You'll talk to Oligario, or you'll give me the report about Milena. Give me the real one and you will get a huge sum.
It's Rodrigo.
I think he's seeing someone else.
Las Bandidas.
Okay, welcome back. So, Peter Masara, MP, Sona West, and Joseph Cherorot, who is member of Kipkelion West, East. Beg your pardon, in Kericho County. We're having, behind-the-scenes conversation here, and I can tell you, there is so much to this bill. So let me take you through the front page of the Star very quickly. Big clash as MPs take final vote on the law. That is what we're discussing. As Azimio troops line up a raft of amendments to cripple Ruto's revenue stream. That is on page 4 and page 5. Continues there. 8 managers suspended, all NHIF staff to undergo lifestyle audit. Gentlemen, I'll ask you about this because Mwananchi is suffering, and when you hear such cases of NHIF, the health sector is not all that healthy. It's slightly sick, so to speak. No media will be denied state adverts. That's according to Gachagua. There was an uproar yesterday after CS Moses Kuria made some remarks there. Showdown as MPs take final vote on the finance bill. That is what's there. Finance bill 2023. Okay, this is a breakdown of what's there. According to the breakdown, contentious clauses, and Mheshimiwa Peter Masara and Mheshimiwa Joseph, you'll agree with me or deny, VAT on petroleum products at 8%, contentious. On digital content, there is 5%, okay? There's scrapping of the VAT on helicopters and aircraft, 16%.
Yeah.
Contentious. Now, is it 1.5% or 3% housing levy? Again, which is contentious. Last but not least, taxation on insurance compensation, what Peter Masara said, which is also contentious. Then finally, 5% excise duty imposed on beauty products like wigs, false beards, and eyebrows. I'm lucky, I don't have false beard, so I'm safe. I'm safe. But then we are looking at this. It was a 500-page report, Mheshimiwa Joseph, and 3,000 annexures.
Yeah.
But when you have all of them brought down to 6 contentious, as per this one, Azimio flouting 8, and the government is also proposing 2. Where are we going to meet at that particular equilibrium point as Azimio and Kenya Kwanza?
Victor, you've asked me about the amendments that we are going to bring in as a government.
Right.
Actually, there is that one of content theatre. It will change it from 15% to 5%.
Which is that?
The content.
The digital.
Okay.
So we are going to change it from 15% to 5%. And on the housing levy...
and Azimio, just a minute, Azimio, what are you proposing on that?
Okay, can I say that first?
In 5 seconds, kindly.
Yes, can I say that we have managed to succeed. We have managed to help the Wananchi because now even Kenya Kwanza are reducing from 15 to 5. We want to push them to 0. For housing levy, we are saving Wananchi from 3, now they are talking 1.5. We want it to be 0. So between now and midnight, we are still fighting for the common Mwananchi. We are going to achieve something. Whatever we are going to achieve, we'll achieve for the sake of the people of Kenya.
All right.
You see, they have started accepting that there is reality. Yeah, we want even for the fuel to be, if they can accept it, to be at 8% the way it is now.
All right.
Because I've forgotten something on that. During Kenyatta's time, there was subsidy on fuel prices and even on food. They have removed it. That's why I'm saying, even with the Financial Act 2022, we can still finance this budget.
Okay, I'll get back to that. It's 5%, and they're saying they still want it 0-rated.
Yes.
Go ahead, Victor. I think you see, it's a popular route that they are taking because I think their intention is to make sure that they get to the common person, Wanchiku down there. But what I want to say is that we have to be realistic. We have to pay taxes. And if we are going to go down to 0, I don't think whether we are going to build this country. So what I'm saying is that the government also is so concerned about our youth, about digital migration. Actually, you are aware that the government is going to do 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic. Already we have 25,000 Wi-Fi hotspots in the country. So this is going actually to help even our youth to do online businesses. And as we talk, there are those youths who are doing online businesses. Very soon I'm going to start in my constituency. And they earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like even in Kuresoi South, you find some youth are earning up to 30,000 per week because of online business. So if they are earning such money, then it is actually worth taxing. But 5% is not a lot. It's not a lot of money. On the issue of housing levy, 1.5% is not a lot. And actually, you see, when they pay, the government also will pay. So we are going to meet at the middle. So what I want to say is that let us also give room, let us give chance to the common mwananchi to own even a house. Because actually, according to the study, by maybe 2050, actually there will be a lot of movement to urban centers, and this one is going to benefit the generation to come. And we have to take that courage. We have to make sure that we take that, we push that so that we can be able to manage ourselves. About the taxes, let's be honest. We cannot manage this country, and we cannot rely on borrowing. Relying on borrowing means we are going to be slaves forever to other countries, the donor countries. Well, and they give us their loans, and they dictate what we are supposed to do.
Were you coerced? According to what Mheshimiwa Peter said, that a majority of Kenya Kwanza MPs were not happy after last week's proceedings in Parliament.
Let me tell you this, Victor, for free. None of us have been coerced. Kenya Kwanza team, actually, they know what they are doing in Parliament, and they know what is actually good for Kenyans. So there was no coercion in any way. And if there is anybody that is maybe feeling that has been coerced, nothing like that. Our president has given, we have that freedom. As executive and also the legislature, we are independent as legislature. Victor, but what we are doing,
we are losing it.
What we are doing it is that we have to support the ruling government because we are part of Kenya Kwanza, and we cannot exempt ourselves.
All right.
Victor, when
what's your point of order?
A sitting president says in a public that I'm waiting to see that MP who is going to oppose this bill. What do you expect from an MP?
ODM Raila Odinga also said the same thing, whipping members.
Let me say, we as Azimio, we went ahead by the wishes. We were doing what the public, the outcry. The people are really suffering. Victor, some people are not able to take breakfast, lunch, and supper outside. Even within KCB here, KBC here, the salary they are earning, the salary has not been increased for the last almost 5 years. And it is delaying. They don't get it in time. Victor. So when you continue deducting it for the sake of 50 years generation, why can't you wait even for next year when things stabilizes, you start taxing? You look for ways of cautioning the citizen. If you are talking of that, they were not forced to do it. Now, if you see their settlements in public places, they want to say, no, you know, I voted yes, because such and such a road is going to be done. There were some roads, there are so many roads in Kenya which has been done without overtaxing people. We have express highway, we have thicker super highway, we have so many projects, even housing. So many were done during Uhuru Kenyatta's time, and the fuel levy was 8%. Victor, this is the only country we have, but we want Kenya Kwanza government to be sensitive enough to the current situation.
Peter, tax is not new. I mean, proposing and bringing up new taxes is not something new.
Victor, if there is any coercion, I can say that it was on their back, their smear, because they have been threatened. And even those who missed, I think they have been blacklisted. You know, there are some of them who are called former members of parliament, and they are still in parliament. Can you imagine? So some of these things.
What did you say?
They are called former members of parliament, and they are still in parliament because of standing with Kenya Kwanza.
Oh, okay. So actually, the difference is we are going as per the wishes of the common mwananchi who elected us. They are going as per the wishes of the president. That's the difference. For us, it is protecting the public. For them, protecting their relation with the president. Both, that's why they are former MPs, because the public will ask them, did we vote for you to talk on our behalf, or we voted for you to talk on behalf of the president? That's the difference.
That's a new word. We have former members of parliament who are currently sitting in parliament.
The public have said, you have seen clips from Turkana, you have seen clips from Central Province, you have seen...
Where did this come from?
No, the cost of living. The high cost of living has forced public to... You know, by the way, whatever authority we have, is just donated. The public can decide to act under Article 1. The power is with them. They are just given us to act on their behalf. But when they realize we are not acting as per their wishes, that's why they start saying this is a former. Because they sent you to do something to talk on their behalf.
Let me tell
but
you,
now
Victor,
you are talking on behalf of State House.
Let me tell you, Victor, let me tell you for free.
Because
Victor, let me say this for free. Let me tell you that none of us are coerced by the president, and we vote according to our conscience. And even if we vote at the wee hours of the morning, we'll still vote yes, because this bill is good for Kenyans. The finance bill we have is good for Kenyans, and it is going to save this country. We cannot actually live in denial and refuse to approach and face the truth. Yeah. And that means we have to pay taxes so that we can be able to save our country. We cannot also compare ourselves with other countries. Let's be self-reliant. We are talking about self-rule. We cannot manage to rule ourselves if we don't have a strong economy in this country. Yeah.
Okay, let's fast forward and assume that we've done the voting, but today, midnight, or even tomorrow, we'll have the final report, how it goes. So what awaits the president, Mheshimiwa Cherorot, what awaits the president in terms of articulation of his manifesto? We have got short-term, we have got medium-term goals. How is he going to meet his target? So that at the end of the day, the common mwananchi who is going to be the taxpayer should have some hope, saying that at the end of the day, the bill is passed, we have the budget before the president, and meeting his manifesto is going to be the next project. How is he going to go about it?
Yeah, when we fought this one, Victor, by 1st of July, the president will have his first budget. The budget we've been working on is actually the previous regime. So by 1st of July, the president will have the money in account, and he's going now to implement his manifesto. He has a plan for this country. And some of these plans are about the housing, about the digital migration, about we also have we have also roads. Like for example, right now, Kera are doing roads in the villages, in the constituencies, and this finance bill, let me tell you, Victor, will not help a certain region in this country. It's a national thing. It's going to help every, plus even him, plus those who are in opposition. And the president, I think you've seen that the president is trying to balance the nation. And there is something that I have to correct, Victor. I saw that the Speaker Wetangula and Honorable Kingi from the Senate are favoring Kenya Kwanza. It is not that way. I think Wetangula has proved to be a balanced speaker, and whatever he's doing about this bill that they are saying that it was sneaked in or it was done abruptly, I think it was in the process. And most of these people know. And if you are absent in the parliament, it is your mistake. I remember even some of us, they came and they sat at the gallery and they were trying to vote and they were told no. So those who are in the plenary are the ones who participated in voting for finance bill. Yes.
Okay, because I'm still quite curious to know what really happened. Why a majority of Azimio leaders were not present in the House last week?
I don't want to talk on behalf of somebody who was not in the House. But I know our MP was sick, Honorable Walter Wino, who was in India for an operation. That one I can talk on his behalf because I was aware. We come from the same county. But for the rest, according to the conversation we have had with them, and what was communicated in the floor of the House, was that the bill was to run up to Tuesday. So the majority were thinking that voting will be done on Tuesday.
So this miscommunication from the Speaker?
From the Speaker.
Okay.
And then let me say this. Brother, let us be honest with one another. If you look at the appointments done by Kenya Kwanza for the last 9 months, it is coming from 2 communities. Actually, some state-owned corporation is run by a vernacular language. If you go to pipeline, from the top to down, from one community, actually they can hold a meeting using their vernacular language.
I'm just to ascertain that.
Kenya Power, check Kenya Power.
Right.
From one community. We have 43. Actually,
that sounds like a wild allegation.
Not wild, my brother.
We are on this end, and
even the churches who used to support Kenya Kwanza spoken. Ole Sapit the other day said, no, you don't have to do that. You know, he was a supporter of Kenya Kwanza, but he was forced to raise his voice because even actually I met a MP from your region. Even the Kalenjin community, you know, there are 12 or so sub-clans. But they are saying only the Kipsigis and the Nandis and by extension the Tugans are benefiting. The rest are not benefiting.
I'll have to do more research on that.
You need to invite us back here so that we can take stock of all the appointment which has been done, both PSS, CSS, and ambassadors, head of state corporation for the last 9 months. And you'll realize that, Victor, that's why people are even contesting the issue of paying tax because they are wondering.
Victor, must we disapprove that? I have to disapprove that.
Yes.
Because
let me finish.
Actually, if there is any government that has balanced this country, who have given even the El Molos and even those people from down there in Mombasa, is this government of Kenya Kwanza. The president has balanced the country. You can see, just go through even the CSS, go through the public service, go through the PSS that we have. For example, even in the Luo Nyanza, where we didn't get votes, we have the PS Omolo. Omolo is the one who is in charge of security in this country. The Deputy President's office, the Chief of Staff there is from Nyanza. And we have several of them. Owalo, I went to Rariata the other day during the homecoming, and those people are actually celebrating, and they are grateful for what the president is doing. So this Kenya Kwanza government is not a tribal government. Actually, and let me say this, when it comes to appointments, it's actually even the parliament who are involved. We are the ones who are affecting these people. So we cannot say it is the president or who. Actually, it's a collective responsibility.
Victor, so we need to move toward the right direction.
So is it a moment of truth today for you gentlemen? Is it a moment of truth for you? Because at the end of the day, we'll be sitting here. 176 members of Kenya Kwanza voted last week during the second reading. 4 from Azimio voted for the bill, and a host of MPs from Kenya Azimio were absent from the House. What is going to change today? Let me start with you.
One, we want to request Kimani Chungwa and Honorable Osoro to leave the speaker to do his work. Today, you'll be watching what will be happening in Parliament. When right decision is about to be done, you'll see the kind of the movement the whip and the majority leader is doing. Some of them are not well researched. That's what is giving us problem. 2, I want to encourage all members of parliament that as much as you are in the government today, tomorrow you may not be there. Do something which even after you have exited parliament, the people who gave you opportunity to be in parliament can say, you stood with us. The timing is so bad to an extent that they may pass it, but we are optimistic that things are going to change. All members of Azimio are now with us. I've talked to almost 17 members of Kenya Kwanza, and they said they are going to support close by close. They'll vote by the wishes of their people. And I believe the number of Azimio is going to increase. And above all, we have an opportunity. I've told you, Article 1 is very clear. We have our courts, and we are still mobilizing. But still there is time between now and 2. The Kenya Kwanza government and the Azimio can sit down and agree, because we have one country, so that the clauses which are contentious, we can settle on a middle ground, where the ordinary people, we can agree that we need housing, yes, nobody is disputing that, but can we suspend it for now?
Okay.
We need to do major roads.
That sounds like a mild proposal from Azimio. That sounds like a mild proposal.
Can we
yes, the 1.5% housing levy, you're okay with it, but
no, we are okay with housing levy, because we need houses in reality.
Okay.
But the figure and how to manage it, another contentious issue, not only deduction, but how it is going to be managed.
Okay.
You are talking of NHIF,
yes,
which has a board, and it's going down. You are going about NSSF, which has a board, and things are not clear.
Yes.
We are talking about pension money. People retired. They were contributing money during their time in office, but it takes them 6 or 8 months or 1 year before benefiting from their contribution.
Okay.
When you introduce another contribution now, and another thing, the ASLA fund.
Yes.
They have spent public money giving ASLA fund, which they say you are being deducted a certain amount. Before it is disbursed to you, there's a certain amount being deducted, okay? They call it saving. Where is it now? In their budget, they didn't indicate that for the last 6 months, the saving for ASLA fund is this one, the one we have deducted. When you are given 500, there's a percentage being deducted, you don't get the 500.
So you're talking about who is going to be the custodian?
Who's going to, and where is this money being put?
All right.
So all these things which are not clear is what is making the opposition to be strong. We want clear. Actually, what I can say, my own assessment, is that the Kenya Kwanza were really campaigning, but they were not ready to govern. By the way, my background is in governance.
Hold on to that. Hold on to that.
Victor.
Mheshimiwa, because at the end of the day,
Yes.
if I got it right, you're having that bill read for the third time today.
Yes.
It's something you've spoken about. You have got Article 1.
Yes.
You have got courts.
Yes.
And you're still mobilizing.
Yes.
I think I'm sharp enough to understand what you're trying to say. Okay, but coming to Mheshimiwa Cherorot, at the end of the day, 3.3%, 1.5%, and now you are likely to say that, okay, it can pass, but can you wait?
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get.
For things to
Victor,
stabilize.
let me tell you this. I want to ask my friend Masara to look for land and donate, because it was announced in Parliament. It was announced in Parliament that this is not about Kenya Kwanza alone.
Right.
These housing units which are being done, the other day you saw the president was in Kakamega and they are going to do some 10,000 housing units. So this housing units it's not about Kenya Kwanza. Every member of Parliament, it was announced that please give us the land so that we can come and do those housing units. So my brother, I want to ask you also to donate.
You've promised so many things and you've realized very few. That's our worry.
We are just 8 months. We are just 8 months in the office, and
still promising. Promising. You know.
Now look here. When you want to put up a house, you look for materials first, and then you start before you start the construction. And they are going to come up with a very nice house. So that is what Kenya Kwanza are doing. Let's wait.
Maybe 2027,
a very beautiful house. So what I want to say about Ichungwa and Osoro, what my friend honorable member said about Ichungwa and Osoro, that they always interfere. That is the role of majority leader in Parliament. His role actually is to make sure that he presents the government agenda and leads the way. We also have the whip, who is Osoro. The whip is his main job is to mobilize honorable members. Even if it is 40
members, not the
21.
speaker.
And even you have the minority. You have the minority.
They need not to mobilize the speaker.
Obio Wandai is also doing his part. So let Obio Wandai do his part and let
but
the
leave
team
speaker
of
alone. Speaker is a good person. Leave him alone. Let him do his work as a lawyer.
He's very professional.
Yeah, but you at times give him pressure to do things which are not popular with the Parliament. You know, we are destroying Parliament ourselves.
Actually,
this really judges wrongly.
I think the speaker we have is a man he has a lot of wisdom and he's intelligent. He's a good lawyer, what you are saying. Yeah. And he has tried to balance all of us. And for your information, let me tell you, sometimes on our part as Kenya Kwanza, we feel offended. Because sometimes the speaker, you find him dealing only with the opposition side. He doesn't even give us...
Can you cite example?
There's so many examples.
Just one.
Like Obio is being given time every now and then. Like
he's the majority leader. During election, Azimio got so many members of Parliament, you use state money to buy some MPs, and we are in court over the same.
We have not put in a member.
Yeah, we are in court over the same. We are the majority in Parliament. We should be the majority.
I'm more interested in understanding how it's going to change today. The voting is going to be taking place, Mheshimiwa Peter and Joseph, because we are looking at the end result. The proposed amendments from Azimio, if they all pass or fail, the bill has to go on. The country, as you put it, we can have the budget proposal of 2022, the bill of 2022 to carry forward. But that cannot happen because that's the last regime. And the new regime here, as you can say, has their own amendments, their own proposal, their own manifesto, and even projects to achieve. But as we come to this, what do you really think, Mheshimiwa, is the head of the president where he is right now? In 30 seconds before we take a break, what's the head of the president to achieve his manifesto?
Pardon?
What do you think is in the table, the priority of the president right now in achieving his manifesto in 30 seconds?
Actually, I may not be in a position to say that because I don't belong to Kenya Kwanza, but what I can say that we gave them what we were supposed to do if any case we occupied the State House, of which we are still optimistic. What we were supposed to do, we will have started from zero, put our priority right, take consideration of the current situation, then move forward.
Okay.
We put our priority right, take in consideration the needs of the people, and then we focus on expanding our revenue base by looking for alternatives. You know, first, the issue of corruption, if you can stop it, we'll get a lot of money. The issue of priorities, doing the right thing at the right time, will also help us. And then mobilizing the Kenyan people to have a goodwill that things are going to be right. You know what is lacking now? That's why even achieving targets is not easy, is that there's no goodwill from the general public. We have been promised stadiums, we were promised laptops, we were promised people going to other countries to study, we were promised this. Now, Kenyans believe that everything being said by the current government is just promise. Victor, let me tell you something.
All right.
I've organized for a function on 8th of July about digital contents. We want to mobilize youths so that we can take them through what they can do using social media to earn a living.
Okay.
My pain is I'll mobilize them, we'll teach them, and then Kenya Kwanza will tax them.
Okay.
That's my word. They'll be overtaxed.
Your mic is off. And by the way, I'm being reminded that you're going to send a pro forma. You're going to send an invoice. That's a free advert. 8th of July. That invoice is going to come on my desk. Okay, Mheshimiwa, let's take a break.
Thank you, Victor.
Let's take a break shortly. I'll give you a minute to respond to that.
Yeah.
All right, but Mheshimiwa, just do an invoice to land on my desk.
No problem.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Kenyans who...
We'll be right back after this.
Yes.
The National Construction Authority is mandated to undertake research into the construction industry as a vital function that fosters effective knowledge diffusion, innovation, and improved performance of the industry. NCA will host its third Research Dissemination Forum on 20th to 21st June 2023, during which 4 pertinent research studies will be presented. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 and the NCA Facebook page, National Construction Authority, and YouTube channel, National Construction Authority, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The National Construction Authority, promoting excellence in the construction industry.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard, every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Mimi siwezi kukaa hapa peke yangu. Wamjua tena huu shetani.
Mtakaa hapa kando yako mpaka haya maneno tuyamalize. Sijui nini hasa ambacho kinaendelea hapa.
I swear to you, wakili. You will regret it.
Mwenye kudesign ni mimi na mimi ndo najua pesa yangu, sawa? Basi itabidi ukazane zaidi, unasikia? Oe.
I swear. Lazima huyu mtu aende jela for a very long time. Sitaki kujua atakuwa ni nani. No one plays with my money.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the 7th leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vampera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring you the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
And welcome back. Now it's time for us to come to the final end of this discussion with Peter Masara, MP, Suna West, and Joseph Cherorot, Kipkelion East. We just have to get our final remarks. Today is going to be a long day for them, and they need to go to Parliament to prepare for that so that they can debate on that bill, clause by clause. So today is the moment of truth. Mr. Peter Masara, let me start with you. What is your final remarks? Now, as you come to that, what should we expect moving forward? Because Kenyans, who I call the fourth arm of government, is watching.
I want to tell Kenyans that we're there for them. We'll do all that we can to ensure we protect their interests and to check the executive, regardless of the current environment. We are ready for the job, and we believe even today, whatever we'll be able to achieve, we'll achieve it. And I'm seeing even from the face of my colleague here, it's a moment of truth. He has seen some light, and he'll persuade other people so that we can strike a balance for the sake of our nation. We have only one nation, and we need to sacrifice a lot to make it work. But we should not kill many businesses. But now, Victor, you know, even if this bill passes, achieving the objective is going to be an uphill task for the government, because the purchasing power of the common mwananchi shall have been reduced. When you put it to 16%, very few people will afford to fuel their vehicles. Majority of Kenyan, more so the working class, will use matatus to go to their job. That will deny the government the opportunity to get the 8% extra money they have put on fuel. When you take away another 1.5% as fuel levy, as housing levy, a Kenyan who was earning 10,000 or 18,000, who has a loan already, and the cost of living, you know, remember sugar now is 250, hunger is 2 something, okay? And we are not, they promise us by June things will change, even gas will go down. It's not going down either. Things are becoming tougher and tougher. Let's give hope to the people of Kenya by making right decision. Hope can make people climb mountains. But the hope is not there. We should not live a country where people are hopeless. But Azimio is there to give you hope. We'll fight for you. We are there. We'll put our life in line so that we can protect the current generation and generation to come.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa, your final remarks.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Victor, for the opportunity. Thank you so much, my friend Peter. Peter said that if they had taken over the government, they would have gone to State House and start from zero. And I want to confess that that is where we have started. We have started from zero, and we are building the economy of this country. As Kenya Kwanza, I want to say that the president means well for the country. And that is why we are actually bringing this finance bill for us to be able to manage ourselves. Peter said that he's going to give me an invoice for the digital, he's going to actually to launch. And I would like to ask him to invite me so that I can be the chief guest. And for that first invoice, I would like to have it so that we can be able to proceed. Otherwise, about the government, about the Kenya Kwanza, we are the president is so keen, and even the Kenya Kwanza team are very keen with the digital migration, with the ICT hub. Actually, we are going to have in every ward ICT hubs. In my constituency, I'm working on that, and I want to say that already the ICT team are working on that, and this is about our youth, so that they can be able to do online business, as our friend has mentioned. About the president, when this bill passes, he is ready to run with it. He is ready actually to implement what he has promised Kenyans. My friend mentioned that we had promised the stadiums, the laptops. That is about the last regime.
Okay.
And even though maybe the president participated in that, he didn't have manpower, he didn't have the capacity to do it because we had another head of state. But right now, we are going to give Kenyans what we promised, and we are going to deliver.
Thank you.
Lastly, I want to insist on these affordable homes. He also will be also a beneficiary. So otherwise, I want to ask the Kenya Kwanza team that let's go to Parliament, let's vote together for yes. I know he has told me that he was trying to convince me that some of his voters are telling him convince Cheroro to vote no. I will not vote no. And I want to appeal even for those Kenya Kwanza who have got different options, that let's vote together so that we can be able to build this country.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. All right, thank you, Mheshimiwa. Joseph Cherorot, Member of Parliament, Kipkelon East, thank you so much for the first time coming on KBC Channel 1 and for honoring our invite. Peter Masara as well. Suna West watching, and we wish you all the best. It's going to take a lot of energy for you gentlemen to sit in that house past midnight. You know, we'll go to bed and that's why we voted you. Sure. So you go there and do your best. All right, that's where we end it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Victor Low. Right about now, we are crossing to Zinga. Rashid Momkondo and Dora Manya will have this discussion, an amazing one. You don't have to miss. My name is Victor Low. Have a good morning. Bye-bye for now.
Kupoteza nukta sekunde wala dakika ndani ya studio. Ninao wageni ambapo hii bajeti ya mwaka 2023-2024 imezingatia maudhui ukuaji wa uchumi kuanzia mashinani na mbinu bunifu za ukabilianaji wa mabadiliko ya hali ya anga kwa minajili ya kuinua hali ya maisha. Ili kuichambua bajeti hiyo ilivyosomwa wiki jana, tumealika studioni Bwana Mutegi Giti ambaye yeye ni naibu mkurugenzi wa ruwaza ya mwaka 2023. Karibu sana ndani ya studio.
Asante sana Rashid.
Na vile vile upande wangu wa kushoto ninaye ndugu yangu George Mwangi ambaye ni mhasibu na meneja katika shirika la GMK. Karibuni sana.
Asante sana.
Jina lako limefanana na kipindi chetu cha runinga kinaitwa Good Morning Kenya, ni GMK. Labda tu nikianza na ndugu Bwana Daniel Mutegi, kwa muktasari tu, bajeti iliyosomwa ikoje ikilinganishwa na bajeti zilizopita?
Bwana Rashid, wacha tuseme kwamba kama vile wasikilizaji wetu wanavyojua ni ya kwamba uchumi wa Kenya ni mkubwa kuliko mataifa mengine ambayo iko katika ukanda wa Afrika Mashariki. Na kwa hivyo tunatarajia kwamba bajeti yetu itaendelea ikipanda na ikipanda, ikikuwa kubwa na kubwa, sababu ya ile kiwango ambayo tumefikia. Wasikilizaji wetu watajua ya kwamba katika ruwaza ya mwaka 2030 ni ya kwamba Kenya inapanga kuwa katika taifa lenye mapato ya country ya kati, middle income, upper middle income country, ikifikia mwaka 2030 vile ulivyosema. Kwa hivyo basi bajeti yetu lazima ikuwe kubwa, sababu mikakati na miradi yetu ni mingi pia, na miradi ambayo inahitaji fedha mingi kufanya, na kwa hivyo ni kawaida tunatarajia bajeti ya Kenya itaendelea ikipanda na ikipanda, sababu ya mambo ambayo tuko nayo na miradi ambayo tuko nayo na mipangilio ambayo serikali yetu tukufu iko nayo.
Asante sana Bwana Daniel Mutegi kwa ufunguzi wa kipindi, na umefoka sana kuhusiana na ruwaza mwaka 2030. Napenda sana hiyo. Turudi kwake mhasibu Bwana George Mwangi aliye pia meneja wa shirika la GMK. Je, kwa muktasari tu, bajeti ambayo ilisomwa ukilinganisha na bajeti za awali, unaweza ukaiweka katika fungu gani?
Asante Rashid. Jambo la kwanza ambalo nimeona ni kwamba kuliko madeni, na hili ni jambo zuri kwamba hatutategemea sana kukopa. Tayari tumeweza kuambiwa kwamba tumekopa na tumekopa sana. Kiwango cha pesa ambacho kinatumika kulipa madeni ni kikubwa. Kwa hivyo sasa naona vile serikali inataka tutalipa ushuru. Tutatafuta pesa kutoka kwetu sisi wenyewe.
Uone kwamba mambo ni magumu na kuendelea kumnyonya huyu mwananchi wa kawaida ili aweze kuondoa lile pengo la mkopo. Uone kwamba utakuwa unamuumiza, kwa sababu ukiangalia Wakenya wengi asilimia kubwa ni wale ya watu ambao ni mama mboga, watu maboda boda.
Kweli kutakuwa na uchungu kiasi. Tukitaka kukopa kutegemea madeni, lazima tujikakamue sisi wenyewe, pesa zitoke kwetu wenyewe. Kwa hivyo tutasikia, kama vile tumesikia, wataongeza ushuru wale ambao wana kiwango cha juu cha pesa, wale ambao wana incomes za 500,000, 800,000 kwenda juu, wamewekewa bendi yao ya ushuru 32.5% na 35%. Tumesikia kwamba pia turnover tax italipwa, na hiyo ni tax ya biashara ndogo ndogo. Kwa hivyo naona kutakuwa na uchungu kwa kila mmoja wetu.
Bila shaka, nikirudi kwako ndugu Daniel Giti, hii ni bajeti ya kwanza ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza chini ya Rais Daktari William Samoei Ruto. Je, ni mambo gani ambayo unasema kwamba yanaweza akasaidia kwenye hii bajeti kukuza uchumi wetu?
Mambo kadhaa Bwana Rashid ambayo yako pale, na kama vile mwenzangu amesema ni ya kwamba lazima wasikilizaji wetu na Wakenya wajue ya kwamba ili ukitaka kufika katika kiwango cha faraja ama kufurahi, lazima kwanza utapata kauchungu kidogo. Hakuna faraja ambayo inakuja bila uchungu. No gain without pain, ndivyo wale wanamuziki wa reggae wanasema. Kwa hivyo lazima tujue ya kwamba lazima tutafinywa kidogo ili ya kwamba tuweze kukidhi mahitaji yetu. Hii bajeti niseme ya kwamba mambo kadhaa yako pale ambayo itaweza kufanya maendeleo. Kwa sababu wakati waziri wa fedha alipokuwa nasoma ile bajeti, ni ya kwamba alirejelea mambo kadhaa ambayo tunaweza ita reform package. Kuna mambo kadhaa ambayo amerejelea pale ambayo yataleta mabadiliko. Kwa mfano kuna kusundiwa kufanya mabadiliko mambo ya procurement, ama ile kupatiana zabuni ile tendering process, ili ya kwamba ifanywe kwa mtandao, e-procurement. Na pia kuna mabadiliko ambayo imekusundiwa katika pension process, ili ya kwamba hata Wakenya ambao ni mama mboga na boda boda na wale watu wa chini pia waweze kuwekwa katika mfumo wa pesa za uzeeni, ile tunaita pension, ili ya kwamba hata wao katika biashara zao ndogo ndogo waweze kuweka fedha, ili ya kwamba wakifika miaka ambao wafanyi kazi wanaweza pata fedha za kujikimu. Pia kuna reform ya parastatus. Kuna yale mashirika ya serikali ambayo yako pale katika bajeti hiyo yamekusundiwa kufanywa mabadiliko. Kwa hivyo mimi naona kwamba hii ni bajeti ya kwanza ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, na ni bajeti ambayo tunastahili kuiunga mkono na sababu ya yale mambo ambayo yako pale. Jambo muhimu ni kuuliza wale watu Rais Daktari William Ruto amepatia kazi, wanashughulikia yale mambo, watayafuatilia ama watarara kazini. Kwa hivyo iko budget mzuri.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, ndapo kwa sasa ndo unafungua runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1, kipindi ni Good Morning Kenya kikishirikiana na Zinga upande wa pili wa studio, ambapo mwenzangu Dora Manya amekita kambi, na ndani ya studio ikiwa leo ni siku takriban ya 5 tangu Waziri Profesa Njuguna Ndung'u kuweza kusoma vidokezo vya bajeti ya mwaka 2023-2024. Ndani ya studio tunalijadili swala hili, na kama unavyoona kwenye runinga yako kwa sasa mtazamaji, upande wangu ninaye ndugu Daniel Mutegi ambaye ni naibu mkurugenzi wa ruwaza ya mwaka wa 2030, na upande wangu wa kushoto ninaye ndugu George Mwangi ambaye yeye ni mhasibu na vile vile pia meneja wa shirika la GMK. Nirudi kwako bwana Mwangi. Rais Daktari William Ruto katika kampeni zake amekuwa akililia sana, akiweza kuwatongoza wananchi kumpigia kura, akiwaita mahasla, mama mboga. Hii bajeti ambayo imesomwa juzi bwana Mwangi, je, kuna mahali kidogo imefeva huyu hasla?
Hakunayo, sio mengi. Tunasema jambo la kwanza kabisa katika ushuru ni kwamba lazima ushuru ulipwe, kwa sababu tuna mambo ambayo tunafanya pamoja na lazima yaendelee, lazima tuyalipie mambo hayo. Machache yamesikika, kwa mfano kuna VAT exemption, kuondolewa kwa VAT katika fertilizers. Tutasema sasa hilo litasaidia watu wote, wa Kenya wote, hasa wakulima na kila mmoja wetu, kwa sababu sisi pia tunakula chakula. Kumeondolewa pia VAT katika LPG, gas ya kupikia. Imewekwa zero rated, kumaanisha pia kwamba bei yake itarudi chini, na hilo litatusaidia kila mmoja wetu. Tumeona pia katika materials za construction, za ujenzi. Sasa kule kuondolewa kwa VAT, hasa materials za kujenga mahospitali na vitu vingine vinavyotumika katika hospitali hizo zimeondolewa. Na hayo ni mambo ambayo tutasaidia kila mmoja. Tumesikia pia kuondolewa kwa excise tax hapo mbeleni kulikuwa na inflationary adjustment inafanywa kila mwaka kwa excise tax. Kila mwaka tunaambiwa sasa kwa sababu ya inflation excise tax pia inaongezeka. Sasa jambo hilo limeondolewa kabisa. Kwa hivyo kunayo mazuri. Tumesikia pia import declaration levy, railway levy zikipunguzwa, kumaanisha vitu vyote ambavyo vinatoka nje vitakuja kwa bei ya chini kidogo. Hayo ni mazuri na yatamsaidia kila mmoja wetu.
Labda nikirudi kwako Bwana Daniel, ili uchumi ukue katika taifa lolote lile, sharti biashara ndogo ndogo ziangaliwe vizuri. Na mara nyingi nimeweza kumsikia Rais Daktari William Ruto akiweza kupigia debe hao wafanyabiashara wadogo. Je, katika bajeti ambayo imesomwa hivi juzi, kweli wafanyabiashara wadogo wameangaziwa hapa?
Wafanyabiashara wadogo wale Rais Daktari William Ruto amekuwa akiita mamboga, bonda na wale wengine, imeangaziwa kama vile mwenzangu amesema ya kwamba ile mgao wa fedha wa kusaidia wale watu naitwa MSME, micro and small medium enterprises. Utakuta kwamba wamewekewa kiwango ya fedha kadhaa, nakumbuka kama milioni kadhaa, estimate sina, lakini kuna wanaweza angalia, lakini wako na fedha kadhaa zimewekwa pale ili kusaidia wale watu ambao wanafanya biashara ndogo ndogo wakaweza kupata mikopo. Sababu yale masomo ama studies zile zimefanywa kuhusu mambo ya kwa nini biashara ndogo ndogo asikui Kenya. Imeonekana kwamba asikui sababu ya kutopata mikopo kwa bei rahisi ama kwa riba ile interest ikiwa ndogo. Kwa hivyo katika hii bajeti kuna fedha za kusaidia micro and small and medium enterprises ili ya kwamba waweze kupata mikopo na wakaweze kufanya biashara zao. Sababu wanapopata mikopo ile basi wanaweza kujiendeleza. Na pia kuna reform ingine imewekwa katika ile bajeti ambayo inataka kubadilisha mfumo wa AGPO. Mnajua katika serikali kuna jambo linaloitwa access to government procurement opportunities. Bajeti ile iliyosomwa na waziri wa fedha inakandiria kwamba kutaweza kuwa na mabadiliko ambayo itafanya kujiandikisha kwa kina mama, vijana na wale watu ambao wanaishi na ulemavu, people living with disability, waweze kujiandikisha kwa urahisi kabisa katika serikali ama department na agencies za serikali mbalimbali kwa njia ya urahisi, ili ya kwamba ukiwa mbali ama ukiwa wapi unaweza kupata kandarasi bila kupatiana chochote na kadhalika. Na unajua wale watu hapo ni wale watu ambao ni wa biashara ndogo ndogo, sio watu wana biashara kubwa, na serikali imekuwa ikisaidia wale watu ambao ni tunaweza ita marginalized, ama watu ambao kwa kawaida wangeshindana na wale wana biashara. Mwenyewe kama mtaalamu wa hii maneno ni ya kwamba serikali kupitia kwa hiyo MSME fund, kupitia kwa hiyo mambo ya access to government procurement opportunities, hiyo mabadiliko ya kwamba kila mtu anaweza kujiandikisha pale na anaweza kuitwa. Najua ikifanyuka kama mtandao basi yeyote anaweza kujua ni kuna tenda hii ama kandarasi hii inakuja, na kwa hivyo basi ataweza kupata. Tena nikimalizia ni ya kwamba kuna mabadiliko kadhaa, hata ile tunasema ya kujenga nyumba kwa mfano. Mimi ni mtaalamu wa mambo ya nyumba na maendeleo ya miji. Nitakwambia kwamba wakati tunajenga zile nyumba, kando na ile siasa, watu wa siasa wanaweza sema ni ya kwamba wakati tunajenga nyumba moja inaweza kuajiri watu kama 10, 15, watu 20 tukijenga nyumba moja tu. Je, ama sembuse tunapojenga nyumba 1200 tutaajiri watu wangapi? Simiti itanunuliwa. Yule mtu wa chini, mtu wa bonda, mtu wa mamboga atapata kandarasi ama atapata kazi kwa ile miradi mikubwa ya nyumba ambayo inafanyika. Kwa hivyo tunasema kwamba hii bajeti, hata kama unajua bajeti ni kitu ya kitaifa, ni kitu kubwa, haiwezi enda kuangalia kitu kidogo ya kila mama mboga, bonda na mtu mwingine. Lakini kwa zile policy ama policy pronouncement, ile mikakati mikubwa ambayo inafanyika ni ya kwamba hatimaye inatiririka chini kusaidia mpaka mtu wa chini.
Shikilia hapo hata tupate kauli yake Bwana Mwangi kabla kurudi kwako kuhusiana na swala hili Bwana Mwangi.
Kwa kweli alivyosema Mutegi hapa, kunayo mengi mazuri katika ujenzi, lakini pia lazima ikumbuke kwamba Jambo la kwanza, unaona kwamba sasa kama ni hii housing italipwa na wafanyikazi walioajiriwa peke yake. Hatujasikia sasa mchango wa wale watu ambao wanafanya biashara, na wengine wana mabiashara makubwa, wana mapato makubwa, lakini hawahusishwi kabisa katika hili. Itakuwa ni jambo ambalo kwa kweli litauma. Amesema pia kuhusu interest. Naona pia kupunguza kukopa kwa serikali, ati kama hatutakopa nje, itamaanisha kwamba sasa tunashindana na serikali kukopa kutoka kwa benki zetu. Kwa hivyo utaona interest rates zitapanda. Kama unashindana na serikali itapata mkopo kwa interest ya chini kuliko wewe. Sasa wewe yako lazima ulipe zaidi, kwa sababu benki wataona tukopeshe serikali na sio mwananchi wa kawaida. Kwa hivyo pia hapo
hujaipitia yote, lakini kuna sehemu 2-3 ambazo umeipitia. Je, unahisi kuna mahali kama mhasibu pana
sio mazuri? Na ni kweli katika jambo lolote utakuwa na mazuri yake na mabaya yote. Kama nimesema Mutegi, huwezi kumfurahisha kila moja katika jambo kama hili la bajeti. Kidogo itauma, kidogo atakuwa mazuri kwako. Sasa kuna mambo kadhaa ambayo naona yatauma. Kwanza kabisa, jambo la turnover tax. Na hii ni tax ambayo inatozwa kwa turnover yenyewe. Mauzo yako, sales, ndio inatozwa. Sasa hapo utaona ingawa imekuwepo hapo, isiwe sasa zile biashara ndogo zinateseka. Kuna hili jambo pia la ushuru. Wale walio na mapato ya juu ndio wanalipa zaidi kuliko walio na mapato ya chini. Lakini itafaa zaidi tuone pia serikali inaongeza compliance katika biashara. Sio kwamba hakuna ushuru katika biashara, lakini compliance iko chini sana. Lazima tuone wanaongeza vipi compliance, na sio kuongeza tu ushuru kwa yule mtu ambaye ni rahisi kumpata. Hayo mambo naona itakuwa vizuri yarekebishwe.
Nirudi kwako Bwana Mutegi. Umezungumzia swala moja likaniteka akili yangu, swala la AGPO, na vile vile pia ukazungumzia swala la zabuni ama tenders. Na kuna ile 30% ambayo imetengwa kwamba kuna watu ambao wanaishi na ulemavu waweze kuapply, watu wengine waweze kuapply kupata tenda. Hebu kimtazamo wako katika fikra ya jinsi mambo yalivyo, serikali ya sasa ni miezi 9 tangu ilipoingia, unahisi kwamba hii 30% iliyotengewa watu wengine tunaona ni mataikuns?
Asante sana Rashid. Mimi ni kama vile nilivyokuambia, nimekuja kama mtaalamu, kwa hivyo siwezi kuwa msemaji wa serikali, lakini vile tunasema ni kwamba ukiangalia hayo mabadiliko ambayo imekuwa hapo ya 30% access to government procurement opportunities kwa vijana, kina mama na watu walemavu, unaona kwamba imekuwa ikitekelezwa kwa kiwango kikubwa. Imekuwa ikiendelea vizuri sana. Na watu najua saa nyingine ni vile mnapokuwa kwa msitu, watu wengi wanaangalia yule mnyama mkubwa wa peke yake, hawaangalii wanyama wengine ambao ni wadogo ambao wanaweza kuwa na faida kubwa kuliko yule mnyama mdogo, yule mnyama mkubwa. Kwa hivyo vile tunasema kwamba serikali imekuwa ikifuatilia utekelezwaji, kama vile Bwana Mwangi amesema hapa, accountant mkubwa, ni kwamba compliance ama enforcement of compliance, kuhakikisha kwamba kile kimesemekana kifanywe kimefanyika. Na serikali ile vile naijua ni kwamba imekuwa ikifuatilia kwamba kuona hao watu 30% imeenda kwa watu. Na pia sio 30% peke yake. Kwa hiyo pia kuna kitu rais alipochaguliwa, I think mwezi wa pili wa tatu pale, mmemwona pale KCC akifungua kitu inaitwa public ama performance contracting, ile mambo ya kuhakikisha kwamba kila idara za serikali zinatia sahihi mambo mbalimbali ambao watafanya kwa mwaka ambao mwaka wa kifedha. Na mojawapo wa jambo ambao inawekwa uzito sana katika performance contracting ni jambo la kuhakikisha kwamba 30% ya zabuni zote zinaenda kwa watu wa AGPO, na ya kwamba 40% kumaanisha kwamba ukiweka 30% na 40% unakuta kwamba 70% ya zabuni zote zinaenda kwa Wakenya hapa. Hata kama utaona ni tycoon mkubwa, bado ni Mkenya na ako na mizizi pale kijijini na anaweza saidia watu wake.
Sitaki kukusukuma sana, sije ni karibu kwa swala hilo, lakini shikilia hapo hapo. Tuingie kwenye sehemu ya pili, Bwana Mwangi, juu ya swala hili. Hii bajeti imeleta siasa. Nadhani nyote juzi mliangalia waziri tu alipoanza kusoma bajeti, wabunge wa upinzani wakaweza kutoka ndani ile bunge, na kumekuwa na mvuta ni kuvuta. Waswahili wanasema kwamba kila mwamba ngoma anavutia kwake. Serikali inasema inamtetea Wanjiku, upinzani inasema inamtetea Wanjiku. Wakenya walikuwa na matumaini pengine bajeti ikisomwa bei ya unga itaenda chini, mafuta itaenda chini, sukari itaenda chini. Bwana Mwangi, mbona sio hivyo? Vitu kwa ground ni tofauti ba?
Kweli kwa ground ni tofauti. Katika siasa kuna mambo mengi na sana sana ulivyosema ni kila mtu kuvutia kwake. Sasa lazima kila mtu ajionyeshe kwamba ni mzuri kwa mwananchi, na hayo tunaona katika siasa. Wakati mwingine hata sio kwamba kuna mambo makubwa sana ambayo hapa wanajaribu kututetea sisi wananchi. Wakati mwingine ni kujitetea tu wenyewe kisiasa. Tutakubaliana na watakubaliana pia, lakini kwa kweli sioni kama kuna kitu ambacho tutasema ati hili ni baya sana, lazima liondolewe. Serikali inajaribu kupanga mambo. Haitawezekana kwamba siku moja bei ya unga ibadilike irudi chini, lakini tukisikia tumemunga mkono mkulima kwa jambo fulani, kama fertilizer bei yake ikishuka, inamaanisha kwamba kesho yake bei ya unga itarudi chini. Lakini sidhani itakuja siku moja ati serikali itoe uamuzi fulani ati mambo yote yarudi chini. Hii yote ni njia, ni mkondo ambao tunafuata. Turekebishe mambo mengi sasa, turudishe gharama ya kufanya biashara irudi chini, ndio sasa tupate kupata products kwa bei nzuri.
Namuona Bwana Mutegi hapa anaandika notes, lakini kabla nirudi kwake bado nisali hapo. Umetaja swala la mbolea ama fertilizer. Unakumbuka kwamba serikali ikiingia iliweza kupeana ule mfumo wa ruzuku katika swala la mbolea, yani subsidy. Na sasa ni miezi 9, bei ya unga bado iko juu. Shilingi 200, nyingine 200 na 170 na au zaidi kwa paketi ya kilo 2. Je, tutaanza kununua bei ya unga wa kawaida upi, na mbona imekuwa hivi licha ya serikali kuagiza mahindi kutoka ng'ambo?
Tunaponunua chakula cha aina yoyote kutoka nje, bei yake itakuwa juu. Tumeona wakati mwingine serikali ikipunguza ushuru wa kuimport chakula, lakini haisaidii sana. Jambo la muhimu ni mkulima wa kawaida, mkulima wa hapa kwetu nchini. Wakati ambapo tutajitegemea sisi wenyewe kwa ukuzaji wa chakula, ndio wakati tutaona bei zimeanza kuimprove, ati kila mtu analipa bei nzuri. Lakini kama mazao shambani yatakuwa ya chini, sasa hakuna wakati utasema bei zitapungua. Kumbuka hawa ni wanabiashara, wana import chakula, na akifika hapa inategemea demand na supply. Bei yake itakuwa hapo, sio ati kumsaidia mtu yeyote. Jambo ambalo linasaidia sana sana ni wakati kuna mvua. Kama mwaka huu tumeshuhudia kiasi, sijui mimi kama kinatosha ama bado chini. Lakini sasa vyakula vinapotoka shambani ndio bei zinakuwa nzuri. Lakini kwa kuimport sidhani tutaona mabadiliko ya haraka. Itakuwa vizuri tena kama unavyosema, kama serikali itatoa subsidy kwa farmers. Mkulima lazima asaidiwe. Ukulima sio jambo ambalo ni la faida vile, ni kama jambo la kusaidia nchi, kukuza nchi. Lazima mkulima asaidiwe, apatiwe subsidy katika mambo ambayo yanafaa. Bei za fertilizer kama tulivyoona, na tena sio tu kutoa VAT, itasaidia zaidi bei zake zikipunguzwa zaidi, ndio sasa mkulima apate kiwango cha mazao cha juu sana.
Bila shaka nirudi kwako sasa, Bwana Daniel Mutegi. Giti nilikuwa naona unachukua notes katika swala ambalo nimemuuliza mwenzako, sijui unaweza ukaelezea kwa upeo gani?
Wacha niseme Bwana Rashid ya kwamba mwenzangu ameelezea mzuri. Unajua yeye yako katika mambo ya utaalamu ile, na mimi mambo yangu ni ile urban planning management. Lakini vile tunasema ni kwamba inakopa kwa ile inaitwa domestic market. Tumeona kwamba deficit ama ile pesa ambayo tunakosa katika bajeti yetu ni bilioni 718, na ile pesa ambayo serikali imekandiria kukopa katika soko la kimataifa ni kama bilioni 518, 580 billion. Kwa hivyo unakuta kwamba ile fedha ambayo serikali itakopa katika soko ya hapa nchini ama domestic market ni 1 billion only, ama ni pesa ambayo hata kama mwenzangu amesema ni nyingi ndio, lakini sio nyingi vile kiasi ya kutofanya mwanabiashara wa hapa nchini Kenya akaweze kukopa mkopo na akaweze kujiendeleza, sababu serikali sector ama wafanyakazi wa humu nchini waweze kupata mikopo, sababu ndio wako na uwezo wa kufanya kazi nyingi sana. Saa nyingine naona kwamba watu wamekuwa kiuliza serikali kazi ziko wapi, mbona watu hawajaajiriwa, lakini kazi ya serikali, nilikwambia mimi si msemaji wa serikali, lakini lazima niweke mambo mengine wazi. Ni ya kwamba kazi zile nyingi, hata ukiangalia mataifa ambayo imeendelea, ni ya kwamba kazi nyingi huwa zinatengenezwa na private sector, sio serikali ambayo inatengeneza kazi. Kwa hivyo serikali inatengeneza kazi zile muhimu kidogo, zile zingine ziko na fedha kubwa, inalipa mishahara mikubwa, lakini utakuta kwamba ni private sector. Tukirudi katika mambo ya bei, kwa nini unga haujashuka na miezi 9, ni ya kwamba lazima mwananchi ama msikilizaji wetu ajue ya kwamba kuna mambo kadhaa ambayo huenda katika kufanya bei ya bidhaa. Kwa mfano, kuna ile amerejelea mambo ya mabadiliko ya hali ya anga, climate change, na umeona rais wetu amekuwa mstari wa mbele katika bara la Afrika kutetea hali ya kwamba lazima tuzuie kuharibika kwa hali ya anga zaidi. We must fight climate change, ili ya kwamba pia tusiweze kuwa na hasara zaidi, ya kwamba mvua ingekuwa ikinyesha vizuri, lakini vile imenyesha sasa, tunaweza ambia msikilizaji ya kwamba tutaanza kuona bei hizi. Tumekuwa na, unajua mafuta ni muhimu sana katika production ama katika kusalisha unga na vitu zingine, na unaona kwamba katika kimataifa kumekuwa na vita, kumekuwa na mambo ambayo hata global supply chains, ile kutembea kwa vitu kutoka sehemu moja ya dunia kwenda sehemu nyingine haijaweza kwenda vizuri, sababu ya vita, sababu mambo mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo hauwezi kulaumu serikali ukasema kwamba imefeli katika jukumu yake, ni sababu kuna mambo mingi, kuna many factors ambayo inaingia katika kuweka bei ya vyakula, bei ya kwa kiwango ya dola kupanda, euro na kadhalika, pia inaadhiri. Lakini pia tumeona serikali imekuwa mstari wa mbele kuja na mradi ambao unaitwa de-dollarization, ya kwamba tunaweza aje kuacha kutegemea mambo kama yale.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, ndivyo mambo yalivyo, ndapo kwa sasa ndo unafungua runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1 na kipindi ni Good Morning Kenya, na vile vile pia Zinga kupitia KBC Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya. Na bado kama tulivyokuambia, bajeti ile ambayo ilimchukua waziri saa 3 na takriban dakika 20 kuweza kuisoma, tutaichambua kadiri ya uwezo wetu, pole pole, aste, na ndani ya studio kama nilivyokuambia ninao wageni, naye ndugu George Mwangi ambaye ni mhasibu, na vile vile pia niko naye ndugu Daniel Mutegi Giti ambaye ni Deputy Director Enablers Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat. Nirudi kwako kabla kurudi kwake. Kwa sasa kuna changamoto kubwa sana katika taifa la Kenya, ambapo ni uhaba wa chakula katika maeneo mbalimbali, na kama ulivyosema kwamba matatizo yote haya yametokana na ukame, mabadiliko ya hali ya anga, vita vya Urusi na Ukraine. Labda mahali unaposimama, ruanza ya mwaka 2030 ni kutosheleza chakula Kenya. Je, tumefikia wapi hadi kufikia sasa?
Sasa na Rashid, kama vile tulivyosema ya kwamba niko hapa kwa individual capacity, siko hapa kama msemaji wa ruwaza ama msemaji wa serikali, lakini kama mtaalamu na kama mtu ambaye nimesoma kadhaa, nimeona ya kwamba kibinafsi ya siwezi zungumzia sana tumefika wapi ama mambo mbalimbali ya ruwaza, sababu pale katika ruwaza tuko na mwenyekiti wetu na tuko na director general na watu wengine, lakini kwa kiujumla bila kuwa msemaji wa ruwaza ama msemaji wa serikali, ni ya kwamba Wakenya inaonekana pale, mirandi ile inaendelea, serikali inaonekana, maji mabawa ile ya damu imejengwa, na ministries department kadhaa zimeweka mikakati mingi ambayo tunaweza ona kutoka Ruwaza Yanze mpaka pale imefika. Lakini kuna msemaji ambaye anaweza fanya hii maneno ya Ruwaza vizuri, ambaye najua utamuita wakati mmoja.
Asante. Turudi kwako bwana George Mwangi. Imeripotiwa katika vyombo vya habari kwamba wawekezaji wengi wa kimataifa ambao wako hapa nchini wameanza kutoroka kutokana na ugumu wa kufanya biashara baada ya ushuru kupanda. Je, kama mhasibu tutawarai vipi wasikimbie wabakie hapa nchini?
Kwa kweli ni jambo la muhimu sana kuwa na environment nzuri ya kufanya kazi. Na mwanabiashara yeyote unataka usaidizi wa serikali, unataka iwe rahisi kufanyia kazi katika nchi hiyo. Kama ni mambo ya licensing, iwe ni rahisi, sio kama unazunguka ofisi nyingi sana. Pia unataka ushuru, kiwango cha ushuru kiwe chini. Kikipanda sana itakuwa vigumu tena kufanya kazi. Ukiongeza ushuru kwa wafanyikazi kwa mfano, na pia ushuru ulipwe na mwajiri wa huyo mfanyikazi, utaona wataanza kutoroka. Nafikiri pia kuna jambo la foreign exchange. Amesema Dr. Mutegi hapa kwamba tuko na shida fulani hapo, inaendelea kupanda. Sasa lazima pia tuangalie ni vipi tutastabilize shilingi. So kwa kila tunaponunua vitu kutoka nje tunalipa bei za juu sana. Sasa ikiwa hivyo, hakuna wakati tutaretain wale watu ambao wametoka nje kuja kufanyia biashara zao hapa. Wataona ni rahisi zaidi kuingia katika nchi jirani kufanyia kazi huko.
Kuna swala hili la madeni, pending bills, ambapo ni zaidi ya bilioni 537. Je, labda kwa njia moja ama nyingine yataweza kuathiri utendakazi serikalini na hata pia kuhujumu zaidi utendakazi katika serikali za kaunti?
Litaweza. Nilinganishe mkopo katika serikali. Najua kwamba kuna kiasi fulani cha pesa ambacho utatumia kulipia interest na principal. Zile pesa zako zote unapata zinaenda kulipa ushuru, kulipa deni. Inamaanisha kinabaki kiasi kidogo tu cha kufanyia mambo mengine. Na hivyo ndivyo ilivyo pia katika serikali, kwamba ushuru kiasi kikubwa sana kinaenda kulipa madeni. Na itakuwa hivyo pia katika serikali za county. Kama mikopo itakuwa juu, mapato yao yote yatakuwa yanaenda kulipia ushuru, na ni kiasi kidogo tu cha pesa kitabaki kufanyia mambo mengine. Na mambo tunasema ni muhimu kama kutengeneza barabara. Ukitengeneza barabara unasaidia uchumi wote. Kama kuna subsidies zinatolewa kwa farmers ama usaidizi wowote, kiwango hicho kitapungua. Iwe sasa pesa zote zinaenda kulipa madeni. Kwa hivyo hilo litaturudisha nyuma. Ni vigumu sana, na ni kweli serikali haiwezi kuwa bila deni. Hata sisi wenyewe ukitaka project kubwa unatumia deni. So kama kuna mtu atakuwa ameweka pesa kiasi kikubwa, ukitaka kujenga nyumba unajenga. Ni kama sote tunaenda kukopa, ukikopa unalipa pole pole. Lakini kuna kiwango kisipite hapo.
Naona bwana Mutegi ulikuwa unajaribu kuchangia kwenye hii hoja, na wewe nikupatie nafasi kama dakika moja hivi kabla kwenda mapumzikoni kuhusiana na hili swala la pending bills.
Asante sana bwana Rashid. Ni ya kwamba kama vile mtaalamu amesema, ni ya kwamba hakuna nchi ambayo inaweza endelea bila madeni. Tusidanganywe. Hata Marekani unakuta kwamba kiwango ya ama 0.5% kwa hivyo madeni sio jambo baya, ni jambo ambalo ni kama vile ni binafsi, lakini katika mambo ambayo ilikopwa kuyafanya. Na ndiposa tumekuwa tukielimisha pia Wakenya na wasikilizaji kwamba hata wewe mwenyewe ukikopa deni lazima utumie kwa kama kule counties ama magatuzi yetu kuna petty bills, lakini najua ya kwamba zingine mangavana wale ambao ni competent enough wamekuwa kiweka mikakati ya kuangalia kwamba ni za halali ama si halali. Na najua kwamba serikali tunakuwa tukisema kwamba serikali hata baada ya miaka 1000 itakuwa hapo. Kwa hivyo kama deni yako ni halali italipwa, iweze kadhaa kulipwa. Na pia kama deni yetu ile tuko nao kama taifa pia tunaweka juhudi ya kulipa. Na umeona kwamba bajeti hii imeweka kiwango kikubwa pia ya kulipa hiyo deni, uchumi, ili tuweze kuwa nchi ambayo ni huru ama sovereign state, ili ya kwamba ndiposa tunasema lazima wa Kenya matarajio mengine ama makadirio mengine ambayo imewekwa pale wakaweze kumbea ama kufanya tu na serikali, ili ya kwamba tukaweze kujitegemea na kupata fedha za kufanya miradi mingine.
Bado dakika 2 niweze kwenda mapumziko, tupate tangazo la biashara, na naona wageni wangu leo mko sawa kwa sababu mnazingatia muda kweli. Kuna wageni wengine unawaleta hapa unabakia tu peke yako. Labda nirudi kwako Bwana George Mwangi. Serikali imesema kwamba haitaki kukopa, afadhali tu imtoze huyu mwananchi wa Kenya. Lakini kuna Wakenya wanaangalia serikali kwa mbali, wanasema bana, mnatudanganya. Kama mhasibu, hivi serikali haikopi?
Serikali itakopa na serikali itaendelea kukopa. Na kukopa ni kwa aina mbili. Kuna kukopa hapa nchini, ndio, na kuna kukopa kutoka mataifa ya nje ama mashirika ya nje ya fedha kama IMF, World Bank na kadhalika. Sidhani tutasema hakutakopa kabisa, ati hatutaona serikali ikiendea mikopo. Tutaendelea kukopa. Kama kutakuwa na project zinafanya mikopo. Kwa sababu ushuru unakuja pole pole, haiwezi kufanya project. Ushuru ni kama mshahara. Mshahara unakuja pole pole. Kufanya project haitoshi. Lazima uende kwa mkopo ndio ufanye haya mambo. Jambo la muhimu litakuwa kiasi cha pesa ambacho kitakopwa ni kiasi kipi, na je tuna uwezo wa kulipa pesa ambazo zitakopa, yatakuwa muhimu. Na amesema pia Dr. Mutegi hapa jambo la muhimu. Tuna shida moja ya corruption, ati tunakopa halafu pesa hazitumiwi jinsi zilivyostahili kutumiwa. Sasa likifanyika hivyo, hata support ya mwananchi itakuwepo. Hatumeona kweli tulikopa, lakini mambo ambayo yamefanywa na hizo pesa za mkopo yanajionyesha vizuri. Kama tunajenga kitu cha bilioni 1, pesa zote zimetumika huko, tumekopa na tumezitumia hapo. Sasa hata support ya mwananchi itaonekana sana kwa serikali.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, nigeuke huku niangalie kamera yangu. Asante sana ndugu yangu Ingati Hilary, wanasema unafuatilia mjadala na uko bomba bin burudani. Mtazamaji, tuchukue pumziko fupi, tupate tangazo la biashara. Kumbuka kipindi ni Gumzo Pevu, na vile vile pia kupitia Zinga Radio Taifa Sauti ya Mkenya, na vile vile pia Good Morning Kenya kupitia runinga ya KBC Channel 1, ambapo ndani ya studio ninao wageni tunalijadili. Ili upande wangu wa kulia ninaye ndugu Daniel Mutegi ambaye ni naibu afisa mkuu wa Ruanza ya mwaka 2030, na upande wangu wa kushoto niko naye ndugu George Mwangi ambaye ni mhasibu na meneja wa GMK. Kwa sasa turuke upande wa pili wa studio, tangazo la biashara. Tutakaporudi tutasonga mbele.
The National Construction Authority is mandated to undertake research into the construction industry as a vital function that fosters effective knowledge diffusion, innovation, and improved performance of the industry. NCA will host its third Research Dissemination Forum on 20th to 21st June 2023, during which 4 pertinent research studies will be presented. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 and the NCA Facebook page, National Construction Authority, and YouTube channel, National Construction Authority, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The National Construction Authority, promoting excellence in the construction industry.
훈련된 살인병기밖에 없이요. 왜 이러나? calm down.
내가 여기 오지 말라 그랬지.
구청에서 이미 공식 발표가 나버렸죠요. 모르시나?
그건 내가 알 바가 아니고.
우리 신부님 알 바가 아니다. 성전으로 만들. 신부가 사랑을 치네. 사탄이다.
Amparo, did something happen to Reynaldo?
No. Listen, I don't get it. What happened, and why are you here, Amparo?
Amparo, please tell me where's Reynaldo.
Didn't your wife bother to explain?
Yes, of course she told me what happened, but I want to hear your story as well.
And what for?
You have a choice. You'll talk to Oligario, or you'll give me the report about Milena. Give me the real one, and you will get a huge sum.
It's Rodrigo. I think he's seeing someone else.
Las Bandidas.
Ikiwa ni dakika takriban 10 hivi zimesalia tumalize kikimbi. Alafu nimaliza na swali moja ama maswali mawili. Wageni wangu ndani ya studio naomba muvae vidubwasha tuweze kupata simu 2-3 kutoka upande wa pili wa studio. Dora, naomba simu 3 za haraka.
Safi Rashid, 0700176699. Maswali yako kwa ufupi zaidi, msikilizaji Radio Taifa KBC.
Hello KBC, mimi ni Mwanza kutoka hapa sehemu ya KBC County.
Yes.
Sasa nilikuwa naulizia kama hii budget tukiangalia sisi kama wananchi tumeona imetunyanyasa. Mbona rais asipunguze kuajiri hao watu wa serikali kama CS, magafa na deputy governor serikali.
Asante sana Radio Taifa KBC.
Radio Taifa, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama.
Naitwa Pastor Kirofi, niko Maimayo. Nataka niulize wageni wetu leo watuulizie badiliko ya hali ya anga. Kama kuna wachungaji wamewekwa juu, unajua hii mambo ya anga nayo lazima Mungu ahusishwe.
Asante sana, tuzungumzie masuala ya bajeti Radio Taifa.
Halo Radio Taifa. Huyu ni mchungaji Pastor Jackson Hamasi sikeno nalo nikiwa hapa na Kurdoa. Nilisikia wale mkini wetu. Anaonaje kama hao watu ambao wa ingi sa inge wa factories kama watatoa kazi hapo hapa Kenya, hii ushuru hata vile anasema inaweza faidi Mkenya wa kawaida, inaweza kutufaidi namna gani kama wanaenda? Je, vile walisema wamehakisha mahindi na wametoa ushuru, mbona mahindi iko juu?
Tumalize na huyu Radio Taifa.
Ndio Yombombo mtoto wa Afrika.
Wasemaje manifestes?
Mwana wadea. Sasa mimi kwa kwa wageni ni hili. Haya madeni tunaendelea kukopa, tutakuja kuyalipa lini? Na madeni yenyewe tunafanyia nini? Na mbona tusifanye vitu kulingana na uwezo wetu? Tunatengeneza mabarabara ya kifahari na sisi wenyewe hatuna jinsi tunaweza kutengeneza hayo mabarabara. Shukrani.
Asante. Haya, wageni wangu, tuna dakika kama 3 hivi kuweza kujibu haya maswali, alafu niulize swali langu moja tumalize kipindi. Nani ataanza? Kila mmoja yuko free kuweza kujibu haya maswali.
Nafikiria nianze. Asante sana wasikilizaji wetu. Ni ya kwamba serikali kwanza tuseme ile kupunguza mambo ya mawaziri. Unajua kwamba kuna ile kiwango katiba imesema mawaziri wakwe pale. Kama ni magavana kwa mfano, hauwezi kupunguza gavana. Kama katiba imesema kwamba kuwe na kama katiba imesema kwamba kuwe na magavana 47, hauwezi kupunguza yale magavana. Kwa hivyo lazima mwananchi ajue kuna majukumu ambayo lazima tugaramike kwake, kama ile statutory positions, mawaziri, makatibu wakuu, PSs na magavana na wale wengine. Lakini jambo la pili pia wachungaji pia wamerejelea, na hii tumesema wachungaji pia maombi ni muhimu, na serikali ile tuko nayo tunajua maombi ni mzuri sana, na najua kwamba hata kwa bajeti mnaombea wa Kenya mvua ikaweze kuja na tuweze kuendelea kama Kenya. Na ushuru pia ushuru ule tunatoa kwa kawaida, tunasema kwamba serikali inajitegemea kutokana na ushuru ule tunatoa. Swali la mwisho limeulizwa kama mandeni yetu, kwa nini tunajenga barabara kubwa, kwa nini we are not living within our means? Ya kwamba ukiangalia kiwango, si msikilizaji wangu ama Mkenya akipata nafasi uende kule Uingereza na mataifa mengine Dubai, utakuta kwamba miundo msingi hata ile tuko nayo hapa ni mchezo, ni kidogo. Kwa hivyo bado lazima Kenya, sababu tunataka kuleta investors ama wawekezaji wa kimataifa, lazima tufanye miundo msingi mizuri, lazima tuweke geothermal na mipango mingine, barabara mzuri, nyumba mzuri, maji mzuri, stima, ili tuweze kuwa na investors wakikuja Kenya.
Na Bwana Mwangi, katika yale maswali ambayo wasikilizaji wameuliza, naona umenakili hapo, utatujibia gani?
Nigusie kidogo swali la Moses ambalo daktari hapa amezungumzia. Wafanyikazi katika serikali wakiongezeka sana ni makosa. Najua kuna zile positions ziko kwa katiba kama number of CS, hizo vitu ambavyo unaona kama ni vya wanasiasa. Sasa hivyo lazima vipungue, ndio sasa kiwango cha pesa pia kinachotumika katika mishahara kipungue. Niongee pia kuhusu watu wawekezaji kutoroka nchi. Ni kweli tunastahili kuwa na environment nzuri ya watu kutoka nje kuja kufanyia kazi hapa. Hatujajitosheleza katika jambo la capital. Hatuna capital ya kutosha. Hatuwezi kujifanyia mambo yote ambayo tunataka kufanya. Kwa hivyo lazima pia watoke watu kutoka nje, waje na pesa zao, waje waongeze nafasi za kazi na mambo mengine ambayo yanatokana na hizo Najua ni swala kubwa. Na madeni yatakuwepo kama tulivyosema hapo awali. Madeni yatakuwepo wakati wote na kila mmoja wetu hukopa. Hata serikali zenyewe hukopa. Jambo la muhimu kama tulivyosema, pesa za deni ama pesa zote za serikali, iwe ni ushuru ama za kutokana na madeni, zitumiwe katika mambo yanayofaa. Tusione tena zinatumika vibaya. Tuna losses kubwa.
Ndo wa pili alikuwa na wageni studioni, alikuwa na wabunge wawili akiweza kuzungumzia kuhusiana na finance bill, na nyinyi pia nitawapatia dakika moja kila mtu aweze kuizungumzia, nikianza na ndugu Mutegi. Leo finance bill inaingia katika stage ya third reading, ambapo vile vile pia tapitia kwenye ile committee stage na kila kipengele kitaweza kuchambuliwa. Wadadisi wanatuambia huenda leo bunge likaenda hadi nyakati za usiku. Sijui kuna yapi kwa muktasari kuzungumzia kuhusu finance bill. Watu wanasema wapende wasipende, finance bill itapita.
Wacha niseme asante sana Rashid, ni kwamba wananchi ama wa Kenya wanajua kwamba bajeti ambayo imesomwa kwa serikali ni ile inaitwa bajeti, inaweka makadirio ya serikali ya mwaka ambao unakuja wa kifedha. Makadirio yale ya serikali ama yaliyo kwa bajeti inatekelezwa kupitia kwa mswada wa kifedha. We operationalize the budget through the finance bill. Kwa hivyo kuna uhusiano pale. Lazima mwananchi aone bajeti ndio imesomwa, lakini itaweza kufanyishwa kazi kupitia kwa mswada wa kifedha. Na mswada ule wa kifedha ni vizuri, kuna mambo ambayo yatakuwa yanajadiliwa pale, na kikatiba unajua mamlaka yetu kama wananchi tunawapatia wabunge wetu kuweza kutuwakilisha, na ndiposa mbunge anaitwa ni mjumbe, anabeba ujumbe kutoka kwa wananchi wake ama kutoka eneo lake la bunge. Kwa hivyo tutaachia wale wabunge hekima yao wenyewe waone ni jinsi gani tutaweza kutekeleza ile bajeti ambayo imefanyika ama imesoma.
Umesema wabunge wanabeba ujumbe wa wananchi wao.
Wanabeba ujumbe wa wananchi wao.
Lakini wananchi wengi hawataki ile finance bill. Sasa ni ujumbe gani wameubeba? Shikilia hapo. Nirudi kwa Bwana George Mwangi sana.
Sasa finance bill lazima iwepo. Budget lazima iwepo kwa sababu kila mwaka lazima government iambie bunge itatoa pesa wapi na hizo pesa zitatumika wapi. Lazima matumizi yote ya pesa ya serikali yaidhinishwe na bunge. Kwa hivyo lazima yataendelea. Haitakuwa vizuri wabunge wetu wanapotuambia wapende wasipende ama tupende tusipende. Sasa hapo haifai. Tunaona katika constitution yetu it provides for public participation. Ati lazima pia maoni yetu yasikizwe. Ni kweli wajumbe wanatuwakilisha sisi wenyewe katika bunge. Hatuwezi sote kuingia huko tukaanza kuongea. Haitawezekana. Lakini sasa wale walioenda huko lazima pia watusikilize. Ndio kama kuna changes zinahitajika kufanywa katika hizi proposals ziwekwe. Tusiseme tu ati kwa sababu lazima ushuru ulipe, kwa sababu lazima serikali ipate pesa. Tutaweka proposals nzuri na nyingine mbaya. Lazima pia wajumbe wawakilishe wananchi. Waulize ni zipi proposals tunafikiri zitasaidia na ni zipi tunafikiri hazitasaidia wananchi ndio ziweze kuondolewa. Kwa hivyo tusiende huko ati mimi naunga upande huu mkono, naunga upande huu mkono. Iwe mimi na muunga mwananchi mkono, kwamba pesa zitumiwe inavyofaa, ushuru uokotwe ama utozwe vile inavyofaa.
Kwa sekunde 5 tu, neno lako la kumalizia kipindi.
Nitasema kwamba budget sio mbaya na budget zote ambazo serikali imeweka hatujawahi kuona ati hii tutasema ni mbaya sana. Litakuwa jambo la muhimu kama hizo pesa zitatumiwa vizuri. Ushuru utozwe, kukopa tena tukope. Lakini pesa hizo zikitumiwa vizuri, kila mmoja wetu atasikia hakutakuwa na shida.
Ndio. Asante sana basi Bwana George Mwangi kwa kuja ndani ya studio. Huu ni afisa mkuu wa shirika la GMK na vile vile pia yeye ni mhasibu. Bwana Daniel, kwa sekunde 30.
Wacha niseme kwamba Wakenya lazima tujikaze, tujue kuna msemo wa Kiingereza unaitwa Stockdale paradox, ambayo ni mwanajeshi wa Marekani aliyekuwa ameshikwa jela akakamatwa, na kupitia kwa kuweka kundi lake la kijeshi Tumaini na maombi na mambo kadhaa, waliweza kupitia ile hali ya kutekwa na baadaye wakaweza kutoka katika ile shinda. Kwa hivyo wacha kusema kwamba Kenya tuko na mambo mbalimbali ambayo tunashughulikia, ambayo serikali inashughulikia, na lazima tukue na muda, lazima tuwe na mambo ya kungoja, na lazima tujue kwamba finance bill na budget zote zinapatana pamoja, na lazima tukue na njia za kuleta fedha kwa serikali.
Bila shaka mtazamaji, kufikia hapo sina budi kuikata mikatali ya kipindi Good Morning Kenya upande huu na Zinga, lakini bado kumbuka Good Morning Kenya inaendelea hadi saa 4 na pia Zinga inaendelea hadi saa 4. Basi kwa niaba ya wote ambao wamefanikisha kipindi hiki, wakiwa mafundi wangu wa mitambo wa redio, mafundi wangu wa mitambo wakiwa ni wa runinga, wapiga picha wangu hapa ndani ya studio wa runinga, na yule dada kutoka pale digital, nasema shukran sana, na vile vile pia mwenzangu Dora Manyo upande wa pili. Itifaki zote mtazamaji zimeweza kuzingatiwa. Jina langu naitwa Rashid Momkondo. Hadi Jumanne ijayo kwenye kipindi sanjari na hiki muda sawa na huu, Radio Taifa Zinga, KBC Channel 1 TV. Good Morning Kenya. Dora Manya, mpisha John Angari atusomee taarifa ya habari. Kwa herini. Asanteni. Asanteni sana.
On the 22nd of August 1978, Major General Dedan Gishuru, then commander of the Kenya Air Force, receives a call from State House.
I was called after midnight by the ADC to the President, Major Macharia. We want you to come to Mombasa immediately. We want 2 planes, and you must be in one of them.
The general quickly made arrangements for 2 planes to take off from Isili for Mombasa. Mission still unknown.
Around the station, and I said I want 2 buffaloes to be made ready, and I'll be one of the pilots, so look for the crew for the other members of the crew. In my plane, it was myself, Kano Tambo, and Julius Karangi.
He then receives strict instructions to park the plane away from public eye.
And then we landed Mombasa at around 6 o'clock. And then I called Macharia. They said, we have landed. Yeah, could you park the plane near the fire station that is away from the public? And then the casket came.
The mission was top secret, and they had orders to keep the news away from the public.
I was called by the Chief Secretary, Mr. Karefi, who was in Mombasa then, and he said, can you arrange for ambulance to take the body to State House without anybody knowing? We got there by at 10 o'clock. We are there. By this time, of course, the ministers were called. So there was a kind of a mini cabinet.
After the confirmation of the message, the broadcast was finally made that the founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, was no more.
And Mr. Karevi drafted a message to be broadcast.
The call was then made to the Voice of Kenya, now KBC.
The message was actually very straightforward. It's been announced, yes sir, from State House, Nairobi, yes sir, that His Excellency the President, yes sir, passed on, disconnected. And that was, we got to sit at 10 o'clock. There's 1:45. There's the time the message sank.
So, how did his career in the military begin? It all started when 5 Kenyans were secretly recruited to be trained by the Israel Air Force sometime in 1962.
So technically, the Air Force started maybe before independence. We were told you can apply to join the East African Community, where they were to train air traffic controllers.
They were Dedan Gishuru, David Kanagi, Samuel Mukirai, Frederick Collins Omondi, and John Apudo. The training of these 5 young Kenyans would be the foundation on which the Kenya Air Force would begin after independence in Eastleigh, then known as Royal Air Force.
When we got independence, the Air Force was started, and initially we started with 2 planes, Chipmunk, with instructors from Royal Air Force.
But even after independence, the Air Force was still majorly under the Royal Air Force officers.
Although we came from Israel as commissioned officers, we were not accepted as officers.
Mzee Jomo intervened and allowed for General Gishuru to assume full responsibility of the Kenya Air Force.
Mzee Kenyatta said, okay, if these people are doing what they're supposed to do, fly, why can't they take over? And he reduced the stay of the British by 2 years.
As the commander, Dedan was the man in charge of flying, maintenance, and administration.
When I took over, of course, there were not many challenges, because flying-wise, I continued flying throughout. And I can tell you we had very good training by the British, both here and, of course, in UK.
He served as the commander from 1973 to 1980.
Promoted to full colonel and took over as the Air Force commander at the age of 30.
General Gishuru's years of flying were not without challenges.
So I was doing like 14 trips a day. After 2 weeks, I tore my cartridge. So when I went back to home, to base, my knee was swollen at bed.
Grounded not to fly again, a directive he did not heed to, and this decision sent him to theatre.
Later on, of course, in 1980, my leg became worse. So they removed, it's like ball bearing. because the cat, the miscussed cat, and it was roaring there. That's the one which was knocking. So they removed those.
Dedan Njuguna Gishuru was the first ever indigenous Air Force commander, having taken over from the British when Kenya gained its independence in the year 1963. In 1985, he became the Chief of Staff, Defense Headquarters, and in 1989, he retired from the military. Reporting from Tigoni, Limuru in Kiambu County, Amnesty Imano.
So much. This is Good Morning Kenya, and we're now coming to the final end of this show today. But before then, just to give a quick rundown of what we should be expecting, that Parliament is going to have the third reading of the finance bill that is slated in the afternoon. We had our guest here in studio who said they are going to vote as per their wishes and the wishes of the people. That will be happening later on in the afternoon. All right, so it's right now to say goodbye for joining us on the show until tomorrow. But before then, I will hand it over to my colleague Ram Aguko, who is at the Weston Hotel, to steer the third, the National Construction Authority third research dissemination forum that is happening at the Weston Hotel. Ram, good morning. This is an interesting kind of a debate coming at a time that Kenyans are also talking about the housing levy. What should we expect from that forum? Ram.
Victor, right there at the broadcasting house. We have set camp here at Weston Hotel, and rightly said, we are here because of the third research dissemination forum that is taking place here at Weston Hotel. Remember, this forum is taking place today and tomorrow. So we have set camp here as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation so that we can be able to know what exactly this is all about. Remember, this is courtesy of the National Construction Authority, also known as the NCA. We shall be taking a look at more about this particular event, but first things first, I am joined by the NCA Executive Director. With me here, this is none other than Engineer Maurice Akech. Karibu sana, Engineer.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you so much for finding time to join me today. First things first, I am excited about this particular third research dissemination forum. Let's talk about this first. What is this forum all about?
Thank you, Ram, and thank you so much, KBC, for giving National Construction Authority this audience or this opportunity to inform Kenyans and the entire public, and indeed even the world, because we are live or even on our other channels on this forum today. So this research dissemination forum that we are doing today is the third of its own kind, which is an event to showcase some of the researches that National Construction Authority has done for the construction industry. One of our key mandates within our functions as National Construction Authority is to conduct research and disseminate its findings to the public for consumption and for use.